His name has become synonymous with terror.
In California, 5 members of a so-called religious cult, including Charles Manson, the guru or high priest, have been indicted in the murder of Sharon Tate and 6 others.
His sadistic murder shocked the world. Charles Manson was charged with controlling and directing the killers.
I don't have any guilt. I know what I've done.
Todesstrafe in Kalifornien.
And now, 50 years later, he remains the face of evil. From behind bars, he seeks out his final victim, his own family.
You have a prepaid call from an inmate at the California State Prison, Corcoran.
Searching for closure from a criminal who shares the same blood.
My grandfather, Charles Manson.
I wish I could bring you into what I'm doing.
It's hard to look back and know where you come from.
I did not want my son around that. I didn't want him to think that that was in him, because that would have been his bloodline.
What's going to happen to me? Am I going to kill somebody? Is this in the family tree? Is this in the genes, in the blood?
I want to face him face to face. I want to know the answers because I'm sick of feeling lost. No matter who he is, he's still family.
Understanding me is understanding yourself. The reality is, you're me.
You, on behalf of yourself as an heir, might want to challenge Michael Channel's claim or Mr. Roberts' claim. There are one or more other possible relatives that could potentially come in also and make a claim.
I never met Michael Bruner. What I knew about Michael Bruner was that his mom was Mary Bruner, and his father was my grandfather, Charles Manson Sr.
It was 1967 and the Summer of Love when Mary Brenner and Charlie Manson had their own Summer of Love, and Mary got pregnant. He was the first child of the first family member with Charles Manson.
Charles certainly believed that Michael was his child. He referred to him, he didn't refer to him as Michael. He referred to him as Sunstone, S-O-N-S-T-O-N-E, Sunstone. She was the first woman in the Manson family and was instrumental in helping Charlie, I think, recruit other young women. And Charles certainly believed that Michael was his child. He was never denied paternity. We had a strong factual case because Mike was a natural child. We had a birth certificate showing Charlie as his father. He had grown up in the home. The only child really that can say they grew up with Charlie in the family until Charlie's arrest and subsequent sentencing to death. Mike eventually went to live with his grandparents, and they felt it would be best for him to have a legal mother and father and maybe wipe away the stain of having Charles Manson as his father. And as a result, he was adopted by them and raised by them.
We didn't see Michael Bruner in the picture whatsoever. He never made contact with me whatsoever before my grandfather passed. I thought my father, Jay White, might have been the only son Charles Manson had.
So at this point in time, based on what we've heard from the coroner, we are going to move forward to get a process ready so that if we're successful on your behalf and the remains are to go to you, that your wishes will be carried out and be ready to be carried out right away. If that doesn't happen and it doesn't go the direction that you want it to go, we'll have to see what the basis is of that decision and decide whether we're going to take any action regarding that. So we'll be in touch with you in the coming days. The county council up in Kern County did a very good job of exploring the issues and the possible claimants. And they put together a list that we ended up following in whatever we did. So they identified the players. There were Matthew Lentz, Michael Channels with the will, and Michael Bruner, who actually became very active in that proceeding. Matthew Lentz filed paperwork in the Los Angeles County proceeding, and he had a number of notes that indicated that there were things he needed to do in order to fix his petition. He never fixed his petition. The court gave him the opportunity to fix his petition a number of times, and ultimately at one of the hearings said, I want you to give notice to Mr. Lentz that if he doesn't fix it by the next hearing, his petition will be denied. And that's what occurred. We also had Michael Channels' purported will, which said, I give you everything, and that was pretty much it.
I don't think my grandfather would have wrote a will that would give entirely everything that he's ever produced over to a guy that was only a pen pal. I knew a lot of people were selling things out on the internet. You know, in my view, from coming to understand Michael Channels, that was exactly what was going to happen. They were going to sell as much as they could until they run out of my grandfather. Michael Channels talked about, you know, cutting tattoos off his body. I mean, I could see that happening. I took it personal.
Murderabilia is a business where people befriend murderers, many of whom are on death row but are in prison, and try to get items from them because there is a cult following of people who are fascinated with murders and murderers and anything associated with them and pay money to get the items. So they were murderabilia dealers.
All this stuff kind of found me. I've been collecting for years. I started seeking it out and writing people and getting things. After a while, people realize that you collect this kind of thing, and it just starts finding you. It's bizarre.
I had to explore the murderabilia scene so I could see what it was about. I went to visit a gentleman who was interested in doing a blood painting of my grandfather. This is a pretty nice setup.
Thank you, thank you.
It's like every wall there's something new, so.
Big fan of the weird, strange, unusual, infamous, and anything that turns an eye.
So you got some of my grandfather's stuff up here also.
I do. The stuff I have of your grandfather, Charles Manson, that's just a small taste of it. So I have some paintings and all kinds of crazy stuff. There's so much Charles Manson stuff out there. I mean,
oh my.
Your grandfather made an impact. He was a complex guy, and he was a showman. That's what I liked about him. I mean, I initially got a hold of him because of the infamy, and after talking to him, I saw a little deeper into the whole thing. I would absolutely be honored if Jason would contribute to this. The reason being is it means a lot to me to have the grandson of Charles Manson contribute his blood to these paintings because the DNA is in there. I actually did my first blood painting of Charles Manson a couple of years ago and sent him copies of it. I like to paint in it, and the idea is to create a future relic. I'm not really a dealer. I'll trade once in a while. Once in a great while I might sell something, but I'm a collector. I don't know, I just have a compulsion to have the stuff around me. It's not all, serial killers that I paint. I paint anything I find fascinating.
I just think that, you have a choice at a certain point, whether to sort of embrace the dark side, and it doesn't get much darker than Charlie Manson in terms of the bad vibe, the dark karma that he's gonna generate. And to say, yeah, I want some of that shit. It's like someone who embraces heroin.
I don't know if I do agree with that. I think it's all exploitation. And I'm exploiting things that I'm fascinated with. And if other people happen to be, that's great, because I'm glad if people enjoy or get pissed off by my art. I don't mind provoking.
After Dad left, I had to go back up and get a book. His girlfriend grabbed my arm and she started looking at me, and she's like, oh, I wish I could take your blood, and she's looking at my veins. And I'm just thinking, leave it alone. After seeing what was in there, it's not my cup of tea. You can't have my blood, my anything, man. I was out.
I mean, really? I mean, do your thing, whatever you want to do, but it's not going to be with anything from my husband or my family. I don't know. People do anything to make a buck.
Memorabilia collectors and ghoulish types from the world over are seeking to get hold of the remains and dissect and sell, God knows, fingernails or whatever, teeth. I mean, you may not have been close, but I think that would make any of us recoil in some degree of horror. And I think it made Michael Brunner recoil in horror. His interest was in securing a dignified end to an undignified life. He felt in that regard that it was his duty to do something for his biological father.
As far as Michael Channel's will was concerned, the document that I saw had a lot of parts of it blacked out. It appeared to be a somewhat incoherent document, but from what I could make out it looked as though it was a document that Mr. Channels himself may have been a witness to. Under California law, 2 witnesses would have to sign and date and give their contact information on the will itself. In this case, it appeared that at least one of the witnesses was an interested party, and that creates that presumption that it's not a valid will.
I got news from my attorney, Dale, that it was only down to one person for the custody of my grandfather, and that was Michael Brunner.
We had a strong factual case because Mike was a natural child.
I think it's great that I have an uncle out there. I would love to meet him. I would love to meet him on, terms that aren't so rough. I don't even know Michael Brunner. I didn't know him. I didn't know him before this happened. I don't know him now, but the opportunities are still there for us to have a bond.
And I'm just gonna say it. I mean, towards the end, when I asked him about Brunner, do you think he's yours? And he said, man, who knows, man? We were all fucking back then. Everyone was fucking everyone. How the fuck am I supposed to know that's my kid? And then, but I'll tell you what, I raised him. I took him out of her. I threw him up in the air to take the fear out of him. I love that kid. And it became this legal battle that I never foresaw coming. I know Charlie didn't either.
My name is Jason Freeman, and I'm here to claim my grandfather.
When he made that claim and went out there and was in front of the courthouse, and it was business. I'm gonna finish out what I started.
Family comes first.
What kind of relationship did you have?
I just want to get to know my grandfather. And he tells me, I don't know how to be a grandfather. I don't know how to be a father. The only father I have, the only grandfathers I have are these prison guards. And I know that's all he understands. I know that's all he knows, because that's where he was at all of his life, even as a child. I personally wanted to gift my grandfather with a chance to understand his grandson and his great-grandkids before he passed, and I did that for him.
This is life. This is the end of the life of someone I loved. I've spent over 17 years getting to know somebody that I developed a relationship with that I didn't see coming. I didn't foresee the man behind that mask, bro. He was an incredible human being, and he very rarely let people see underneath that mask. Very few people.
Yeah.
And, and I will admit, he died, I'm gonna say, protecting you, because he didn't want to let you in. because he didn't want you or your family tainted. I noticed whenever your grandfather got close to love or someone telling him, whenever I would tell him I loved him, he'd say, man, you gotta stop. No, you're making me feel like a schoolgirl, man. What are you, you love me?
Yeah.
You know, he would push you away.
Yeah.
He would lash out at you.
He would degrade you in some way.
He would degrade you, humiliate you.
Yeah.
And I'm smart enough to know that that's a shield for him, you know? And it wasn't until the end of his life that he began to repeat it. And that's how I knew that was the mask.
I mean, it's just such a drama scene with that guy. And I don't know, he just thrives on it. It's I don't know what his infatuation is with Charles Manson, but there's something not right because, I mean, there's more to life, and now he's dead, so now what? I don't know what is, I don't know.
I still haven't come to complete honest, terms with myself on full acceptance that he's a murderer and a serial killer. I had to get a reality check. I wanted to meet somebody who was part of the Manson family that lived at Spawn Ranch. Hey, man. I had to go to the core of it, and I needed to hear from one of the Manson family members, and that was Diane Lake.
Yeah. I never heard about you until, it was in the news.
Yeah, I was just curious what it was like spending time with my grandfather before and then after the murders.
I was there pretty much the whole time. He just had this, this way about him. I mean, for me, it's been 50 years. So
yeah.
Time softens, the memories. But,
it does,
there's good memories and there's bad memories.
Yeah.
And I think that part of the hold that he had on me and all the girls is that he had this uncanny way of making each one of us feel like we were his favorite. We were the most loved. And maybe he was protecting me.
I still have that same question with me. Was he protecting me or was he pushing me away?
Well, he had this really, uncanny ability to read people and and it was probably a blessing and a curse, but he had this ability to read people and determine what their weaknesses were and what they needed, and he could provide it or make you feel like he was providing that love or that security or that, made you feel worthy and special. And he had, I was disciplined, when I acted out or, when I didn't, keep my focus on him. I got hit, I got whipped, a few times.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions in my own mind. If he's innocent, if he's guilty, what he's guilty of, where's the truth lay at? Because I know it doesn't lay at the courthouse. I don't believe that.
Right. But I think that he was definitely instrumental in creating this maelstrom, that happened. I think it was his delusion. I think that and he got other people to believe in it.
Feed into that same illusion?
Yeah, illusion, delusion. He was the one that promoted this idea about this black-white race war that was going to happen, and that he was the instigator for preparing it, but other people were climbing on board.
He wanted these murders to be blamed on blacks so that whites would start indiscriminately killing blacks, but Manson felt that the blacks would end up killing all the whites except for Manson and the family. And innocent people were murdered for the reason that Manson and the family wanted to start a race war. I mean, that's about the basest motive that you could possibly dream up.
These people really embraced and enfolded his delusion. And that was about Helter Skelter was real, and that at some point it was their responsibility to start it because it, it wasn't happening.
The spring of 1969, Manson was getting frustrated because he thought that the blacks were going to start the revolution. And he said in May, the only thing that Blackie knows is what Whitey shows him, so someone's going to have to show Blackie how to do it. And then in June, he said, we're going to have to show Blackie how to do it. And on Friday, August 8th, Manson had been up at Big Sur, and he came back, and he said, now is the time for Helter Skelter. Well, now was the time for murder and bloodshed to begin.
And I had this epiphany a couple of months ago that kind of, because one of my big questions has always been, how could these people that I loved and, was close to, how could they have actually, killed people, right? I mean, physically, where the rubber meets the road, how could they do that?
Sharon Tate had some friends over for lunch, and there was talk of having a party at the house that night, but she decided she wanted to have a quiet night with her friends. So she and Jay Sebring, Wojtek Frykowski, and Abigail Folger went to have dinner at a nearby Mexican restaurant. Then they came back for the night right around 10 o'clock.
The three women approached the house. Watson told Kasabian to look around the house to find out if there were any open doors or windows. She did that, didn't find anything, but when she came back, she saw Watson at a dining room window, and he had cut the screen and opened the window and climbed in. When they got to the living room, Jay Sebring, who was a longtime friend of Sharon's, Watson was having Sharon sit on the floor, and Sebring said, no, she's 8.5 months pregnant, let her sit on the sofa. And Watson, with his revolver, with the gun butt, smashed Sebring in the face, shot him and stabbed him. That basically killed Sebring.
I mean, it's one thing in your head to talk about, are you willing to die for me? Are you willing to kill for me? Are you willing to kill, in order to not be killed? Yes, exactly.
Krenwinkel chased Abigail Folger out of the back of the house, and fortunately, on the way, left her fingerprint inside next to the back door, and she chased Folger with an upraised knife and caught her in the front yard and proceeded to stab her. Wojciech Frykowski tried to run out of the front of the house. Adkins stabbed him in the leg a number of times, and he got out, and Watson tackled him in the front yard and stabbed him and shot him. Frykowski ended up being stabbed 51 times and hit over the head with the gun butt 13 times, so hard that the grip on the gun butt broke. And when Watson was finished with Frykowski, he went over and helped polish off Abigail Folger.
But to me, it was a mind game. It's like, no, he didn't really want us to kill. We had to be, I mean, it's really hard to explain, but we had to be willing to kill in order to not have to, or to not be killed ourselves. That was, because he was always playing mind games.
Watson, with this rope he brought, he knew that there were beams going across the living room ceiling, and he threw the rope over the ceiling beam and tied one end around Jay Sebring's neck, Jay, who was already dead, and the other around Sharon Tate's neck. And the coroner said that when Watson hung her from the beam, that she was still alive.
Charles Manson, your grandfather, descended into a psychotic, I think, delusion that made him increasingly, and his name, Manson, increasingly made him feel like he was Christ, you know, and the second coming, and that he had a mission.
He told his family members that he was Jesus Christ, and he would recreate on the cross how it felt when they were driving the nails in his hands and in his feet. And he said the first time he came to earth, he came as Jesus Christ, and he got crucified. So this time he was coming as the devil.
He didn't have anybody saying, "No, you're wrong. You know, that's impossible.
Yeah.
You know, this isn't going to happen." And the struggle, and I'm sure it's been a huge struggle, as it was for me, and it still is, in revealing that. And fortunately, and I hope you have some of the same experience that I've had since I came out about my story, and that it's been 99.9% positive. People say, "Good for you, how brave, you know, to tell your story." And so, we're so thankful. Now it helps us understand how this cult, how this man came to be, you know, the icon of evil.
Diane's story was like a three-piece combination that put me on the ground.
Now, I'm so glad to have met you. We shared our stories.
Yeah. She was pretty open with explaining to me that my grandfather was the mastermind behind all the murders. I turned to Dode Overton. He was a pastor from a local church in our area. When my dad passed away, he was there. Now my grandfather passed away, and I want to make sure he was there. I'm not looking at the forest, I'm looking at that one tree. And I know I need people around me that can see in front of me and on the side. And he always had the right answers at the right time.
When I first met Jason, he was, like you say, a rough character. After he was coming to the church for a while, I got to know him a little bit better. He was still fighting at that time. There are those things that happen in our lives that we can repent of and turn from and walk away from.
Hey, man. How you doing?
Which I believe Jason did that, and that's why he's living the life he is today. So how do you feel spiritually? How do you release that hatred and all that anger that's against you for something you didn't really do?
Well, the first thing I can say that for weeks and months, you know, it's been a roller coaster. You know, it's like, where do I put my time and my focus and my energy? We got some things out of the way, and we're in court now, and I mean, I know I could feel the spiritual battle going on. It's around me. It's not. It is within you also, but you still got to make that you know, choice not to serve the devil. So I know there's times in this past year, you know, where I've reached out to you, you know, to say hi and just ask for some advice. But I don't know if you really, you know, grasped, or if I even told you, you know, what I've been dealing with, you know, in this past year.
I imagine a lot.
Yeah.
You got it coming at you from all angles. He's not accountable for that. He's not accountable for anything his grandfather did. And I don't believe he has to make penance or anything like that. We can't pray him out of hell. We can't pay for them to get out of hell. That's just the fact of the scripture. There's a lot of people out there that I would imagine, just because I know what the world thinks, that this is all a big game, that you somehow manipulated this whole thing so that you can get rich. How do you deal with that?
Well, that's exactly what probably 60% of the world or society probably thinks. You know, we got to stay focused on God and just not drop the ball.
The world would say, and you just answered that the whole reason you're doing this is to put money in Jason Freeman's pocket.
Yes.
When we talked, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, I think we talked on the phone, and you said it was anything that you gained was for kingdom purpose.
Yeah. My focus in life is to give back. God's laid it on my heart that's my job.
When I was praying for you, I was getting this attack thing going on. I was concerned about you and your life and how you were dealing with that, because I know that's a lot of pressure.
It's different pressure than I've ever felt before, but I do know that God's been preparing me. Like, for instance, I've got a couple groups of people that just hammer down on me on the internet. And I can't sit there and say bad things about them. I don't even know them. If this is what they choose to do, that's still their choice. I choose to, turn the other cheek. I know there's times I do get frustrated. I mean, I've fought all my life, Now I understand it's a spiritual battle. It's not that physical battle,
You're starting to get a hold of that scripture says we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers and rulers of the darkness of this world. That's your fight now.
It is. I see it.
You're out of the cage and you're in the big ring, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Well, I hope you win it.
One more thing for you tonight, and it is the resolution of the absurd fight over what to do with Charles Manson's remains.
In the course of the proceedings in Kern County, in open court, Michael Bruner's attorney acknowledged, when pressed by the court, that they did not have the original birth certificate identifying his client as being Charles Manson's son, because when you get adopted, you can't get the original birth certificate anymore. And that was the end of that part of the case.
The judge could have gone either way on that, and that's the thing. The judge has to make a decision. That was the one she made. We made our best case.
It became clear to the court that in what we call an exigent circumstance or an emergency circumstance, which is what to do with the body, that the court could clearly find that Jason was the next of kin and give him the remains.
I was at my boys' baseball game, and I got the phone call from a lady from CNN, and she says, "So how's it feel to have one custody of Charles Manson?" I was lost for words. I didn't know what to think. Already been going through this battle for months, and she was the first person to say, hey, you won.
The notorious murderer died 4 months ago, and there were actually 4 different parties jockeying to get custody of his body. A California judge decided that the cult leader's remains will go to his grandson, who says that he plans a cremation. And here's the weird part. He also wants to invite the other people who were trying to claim that carcass because, quote, he wouldn't want them to miss out, end quote.
When it hit me like a ton of bricks. You're receiving Charles Manson's body. It's not just your grandfather. You're going to be taking on more than just your average funeral, cremation, spreading of the ashes.
Once this came to a point where there were choices, there were 3 choices, and he was the lesser of the 3 evils. Because the other 2 choices were not choices at all. They were totally based on lies and falsehood.
I think you look at Jason and you think, maybe, your one inclination would be, well, yeah, he's out for publicity maybe, he's trying to make some money, and all those things would be possible. And being a newspaper reporter, I would have that skepticism naturally. But I do think that there was a genuine connection as it related to family, and not in the Manson family sense, but in the family sense.
I can see how this is torturing Jason. And I see the public attacks on him. And this dark hole that you get sucked into. It's like a rabbit hole that once you go down, you get so lost you can barely find your way back. And I feel responsible for that in a way.
There's a lot of people that are mad out there. They're frustrated. They don't know where you come from. It looks like you just come out of the woodwork and you're out to bank on your grandfather's estate, his name, and everything that comes with Charles Manson. Once I got the body, everybody started calling me, even the media. I got this local reporter. He threw my name in an article and he stuck my address in there.
Oh, that's.
And then I got people. I mean, I don't know. I got people driving by my house and they're looking at me, and some people are waving. I'm like, I don't know you.
Right.
You know. So I got a security system now in my house. I got a bigger dog.
You know, it's his choice. It's something that he feels that he needs to settle in his life, and I'm all for it. You know, who knows who's saying I wouldn't be the same way if it was my situation, you know?
You just need to stay focused where you want to be with it, and
yeah,
that's where it's going to end up in the end anyway.
Yeah.
Stay focused, keep your chin up, keep moving on life like you always have, you know?
Yeah, well...
Ain't the first time you face stuff like this.
No, I haven't.
Think about it. Could you or anyone else imagine being Charles Manson's grandson, and how would the average person survive that? How would the average person get through life knowing that? You know, would they be strong or would they be weak? Would it tear them down and make them continue to do bad things? Or, you know, that's my family, so this is who I'm supposed to be. I'm not supposed to do good things, so who cares if I get in trouble? But he's really overcome that, and I just think that's why he embraces this.
I'm sure he's at great risk for associating himself with Charles Manson because people are people. People hold grudges. And of course, you're at risk when you voice your opinion. So he's at risk that way. I believe that he's not afraid. He's never been a guy of fear.
So here I am. I've got Charles Manson's body. I've got my grandfather's body. Now I have to go to California with my wife, and I have to go through the process of claiming it. And everything was actually coming to a point now, so it was emotional, but I knew there was a lot of work ahead of me. And we just kept moving forward. You know, Dale, you and I both talked extensively on where the remains could end up. And that's the last thing I want to do is see my grandfather's ashes on eBay or things that he owned just being sold off.
That, and I think I've mentioned to you a number of times my concern that having his ashes in a place where they might be identified might actually put you or your family at risk. So I think that's a very big concern. So my major concern in that event is if it's known, in fact, that you have the ashes or people believe that you have the ashes, someone may actually be motivated to break into your house, might cause you or your family harm in order to steal those things from you. So my own personal suggestion would be, if it's your intent to have him cremated, to scatter his ashes in a manner in which the public will know that they've been scattered, that they don't remain, and that it won't put you at risk. Yeah. And it will also bring some finality to the time on earth of your grandfather. Ultimately, there will be an inventory and appraisal where we identify whatever monetary assets he has, and I understand he may have more monetary assets than we might otherwise anticipate. But he also has, as I understand, an extensive collection of art that he himself has created that still should be stored at the prison.
Okay.
He also has intellectual property rights that relate to music. Likely his person in the media may be an intellectual property right that will be controlled by the estate and ultimately by the heirs. I noted that in the recent news, there was an art piece that was sold, I think, in Great Britain for $10 million that was purportedly inspired by Helter Skelter. So if there's actually an art piece by your grandfather, it might be in that range. We don't know. now that he's passed, there won't be any future art pieces that he creates. So it's a limited collection of assets, and that may make them even more valuable.
I knew the first task was actually getting my grandfather from Kern County to the funeral home.
Jason had been in touch with my nephew, who owns a funeral home in Shafter, which is very near the facility that Charles Manson passed away in. So they were looking for a local funeral home, and my nephew just couldn't provide the type of facilities that Jason was asking for. So he recommended me, and Jason contacted me, and we got involved that way.
What happened on a Thursday afternoon when I received a phone call from Les Peters, who is the owner of the Porterville Funeral Home, and that's not unusual because he'll call me when there's a need for a pastor. And he called me and said he had somewhat of an unusual situation and if I would be available to do a service. And so then he shared that it was for Charles Manson. I was living in Southern California when those atrocious events took place, and like so many others, in shock as I followed the news. And so, I mean, that was a part of my early years. And so, yeah, thinking about that terrible moment in history, and now the reality of this person having a funeral service. Then he shared that he was going to be meeting with Charles Manson's grandson, Jason. And as a part of the conversation, he said, and Jason's a believer, he's a Christian. And so a couple things went through my mind. I said, well, number one, I'm a pastor, so I'm always involved in doing services for whoever it may be. But then also to know I could be supporting someone who's of the faith, I wanted to be available for that.
Over the years, I've served many people who were in prison and did heinous crimes, and we never judged them. We're here for the families. When they request us, we just go ahead and service them. Well, it was a very long day. We went to pick him up at 8 o'clock, as early as the coroner's office opened, like we would normally do. And we had our releases in order. And so, silly me, I just thought it would be business as usual. But when I showed up at the coroner's office, I was told to sit out in the waiting room. And I waited there for quite a while. Someone came out and told me that, well, they didn't want to release him yet, and that we didn't have the proper releases. And so it was kind of a runaround for a while. And I'm not sure what was going on at the coroner's office, why they didn't want to treat it as they normally would, but I was trying to. Well, I was anticipating that the remains would be in the freezing area. And I've been into that coroner's office many times, and you turn right, you go to the refrigerator section. You turn left, you go to the area where they actually hold remains in frozen. And that's what I anticipated to do, and that's not what the case was. We are required by California law, and basically it's the federal law, that when we take remains into our care, that they be placed in a refrigerated area. And that's, of course, what happened to Mr. Manson. But that's not something you would do for 3 months, which is what happened here. And so that really created a lot of difficulties for me on the technical side of preparing his remains. The largest problem I had was that just like if you're in a bathtub, you all know what happens. You're in a bathtub for an extended period of time, your fingers start to wrinkle up from the water and everything. There were some fluids in the bottom of the bag that he was in, even though they had some type of an absorbent cloth. But that many months, that's what I was dealing with, to the point that it was just beyond repair. I'm always very careful when I talk to people about remains and the condition, and I don't want to be macabre. I always want to respect everyone's dignity And I'm not sure I want to go too much into the condition of Mr. Manson's remains, just out of respect that I would have for anyone.
As soon as Les had given me a call, to be honest, I immediately went on the internet search for Jason Freeman to find out a little bit about his background. And it gave me a chance to read up a little bit on Jason and give me a little bit of his background. And that made all the difference in the world to me, because Jason's a believer. He's a Christian, and I felt like there was someone whom I truly could stand with and support.
Jason had already put in a considerable amount of time in trying to put together the facility to be able to handle the remains. When the time came, he was ready to proceed.
I was contacted Thursday by the funeral home with the understanding we would be meeting with the family members involved on Friday.
Once I made contact with Great Wolf and George, I knew that whoever they wanted to have there, I wanted to give them an open invitation to share that with the people that they know that I don't know that knew my grandfather, so they all could have the opportunity to share this time together.
I have a feeling there's going to be a lot more that show up. Do we have a plan for security, or like we need to think about that, because you know that somehow somebody's going to know what's happening and where.
That's great.
Not everybody that shows up is getting in. I mean, that's going to have to be very selective. So it's important to have security in place.
Yeah, I think security has to be a priority.
Jason has done all of the work. Jason and his family have been through the ringer with learning about Charlie, with learning about Jay, with going through all these emotions. There hasn't been one single one of these people who've contributed to anything. They're just another character that followed Charlie, and that's crazy.
His name has become synonymous with terror.
In California, 5 members of a so-called religious cult, including Charles Manson, the guru or high priest, have been indicted in the murder of Sharon Tate and 6 others.
His sadistic murder shocked the world. Charles Manson was charged with controlling and directing the killers.
I don't have any guilt. I know what I've done.
Todesstrafe in Kalifornien.
And now, 50 years later, he remains the face of evil. From behind bars, he seeks out his final victim, his own family.
You have a prepaid call from an inmate at the California State Prison, Corcoran.
Searching for closure from a criminal who shares the same blood.
My grandfather, Charles Manson.
I wish I could bring you into what I'm doing.
It's hard to look back and know where you come from.
I did not want my son around that. I didn't want him to think that that was in him, because that would have been his bloodline.
What's going to happen to me? Am I going to kill somebody? Is this in the family tree? Is this in the genes, in the blood? I want to face him face to face. I want to know the answers, because I'm sick of feeling lost. No matter who he is, he's still family.
Understanding me is understanding yourself. The reality is me.
The thing that was going through my mind coming out here was he could pass away while I'm out here. The way most people are going to look at it is You know, why would you take your time to go see Charles Manson? But in my life and in my world, it's way different than that. I was there for my grandmother, I was there for my father, I was there for my dad. I was at their deathbed.
He won't stop with Manson. He's going to do what he's going to do, and I can't stop him. If my husband was alive today, there wouldn't be none of this, because he just flat out said no.
Hey, Mom, I just wanted to call you and just tell you how much I love you and how thankful I am that you're so supportive with me, you know, with everything I'm doing.
Well, Jason, I wasn't. And then, you know, I thought about it, and I thought, well, he is an old man, and I just didn't want him trying to twist your mind or think, because I know the things he says on TV are off the wall, and I just didn't want you involved in that.
Yeah.
But you're a grown man, and he's an old man, and I don't see the harm anymore. Well, I think if you do get to see him, and I hope you do, and for his sake, I hope he gets to see you.
Yeah.
And I hope you have a good visit, that it'll put some closure on a lot of this.
Yes. I gotta go, Mama.
Huh?
I gotta go. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Love you.
I love you too.
Bye.
I had fought with Jason over all of this for a long, long time, till I finally just gave up. There's something wrong with him, people. And I just don't like the fact that Jason is around them.
I'm gonna stand up here so I can be eye to eye with you.
JJ, John Michael Jones, has been a friend of my grandfather's for 15 plus years, and he shared with me how he really truly loved my grandfather. And it was moving for me. It opened me up to think maybe there is a different side of Charles Manson.
And right now is the time, because it's coming to the end.
This is it.
We ain't got much time left.
Yeah.
So I say it's time we go get justice, and that's getting you in there to see him.
Open him the door.
Talking to Jason on the phone is one thing, but when I actually met Jason, and Manson's the same way in the sense that when he looks in your eyes, he can call bullshit from a mile away. So who better to have fighting for his grandfather?
Rock on.
All right, let's do it, brother.
I think it was important to have JJ go into the prison with me, because he shared a lot of information with my grandfather back and forth, and I knew that the research that he's done working with the prison system, that he had an edge above me, so that would work on my side.
And for me, if I could just get Jason in front of Charlie, I knew in my heart that Charlie would have just loved him.
Trying to get to understand the medical end of being in prison. Who was on his list, who was on his medical to receive information or ask information. And I couldn't get a straight answer out of anybody. This right here says sometimes emergencies or hardships, visits are allowed in the handbook for Corcoran, California prison. It states if you have a family member in prison that is deathly ill, that you don't have to go through all the procedures, that they just have to okay it. Open the doors.
Yeah, I mean,
open them
it
up.
says right there, look.
Open them up.
Unexpected visitor. Bang, and this came right off their website.
Yeah, yeah. And
CDCR.
And they told me on the phone.
But be prepared. Your grandfather has a whole new set of rules that apply to him. But I'm telling you, the injustice in this case, not just the legal part of it, but just from the prison aspect. I mean, justice as far as giving him his mail. Stop creating rules that, you know, anything Manson wanted, there was a rule he couldn't have it. I mean, they have a room full of his stuff there now. Guitars and things that meant a lot to him that they just confiscate, deem it contraband. you gotta understand something. Your grandpa was raised up in the prison systems. He was raised by the likes of Alvin Karpis, Frank Costello, Frankie Carbo, Mickey Cohen. These are gangsters that your grandfather was raised up with.
Are you listening?
Yep.
All right, Alcatraz. There was a guy in there called Alvin Karpis. He was from Spain.
Okay.
He was like one of my fathers. He taught me a little bit on the guitar. He gave me wisdom.
Your grandfather has been in prison so long, his mentality is that of a big tough guy. He's gonna be, I don't need you to protect me. You know, he's gonna play that tough guy role. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. That's just his way of life. But behind the scenes, when that Manson mask comes off and the cameras aren't rolling and he knows you're not recording his phone call, he'll tell, like he said to me, I need someone here. I need someone to let this prison know they can't just do what they want with me.
He wanted me to move out to California. I said, man, you know as well as I do, I got 3 kids and a wife. He's like, I know, man. He's like, but I got everything you need. I got a place for you to stay. All the money's up here. Everything you need's right here. You know, and
what did you say?
I said, I don't want nothing.
Good, because that might have been a test. I remember my first visiting Manson, he told me, if you know what's good for you, you'll turn and run and get as fucking far away from me as you can. And I laughed, and I noticed that he wasn't laughing. I don't think a lot of people know that Manson fought cancer for many years. Charlie was told he didn't have long to live many times. You need to let him know that you want to be here for him. I don't want nothing from you other than a relationship with my grandpa. And he's so used to being used up since a little boy. He told me a story about sitting at a window for 2 years at a boys' home. Didn't commit no crime, but was there because no one wanted him. And he said to me,
his mom or his uncle.
And nobody came. Your grandfather's world is unlike any other world I've ever experienced. His way of protecting you, Jason, is to push you away. And you may think by him, he'll get on the phone and insult the hell out of you. He'll call you stupid.
Oh, yeah, he is.
You're incompetent and brain dead.
Fuck you.
Then you're going to get mad at me for telling you the truth.
But that's his way of trying to push you away because he doesn't want you wrapped up in that world. There it is, brother. That's where your grandfather is, behind those fences, bro. That's how close we are to him right now. All right, bro, Corcoran State Prison.
Game on.
Game on.
When we pulled up and we was going straight to the front gate, I was waiting for guns to be pulled. You know, turn around and never come back is what I expected. How you doing, sir?
Good, how you doing?
I need to get to the visiting center.
What are you here for?
I need to see my grandfather. He's in the hospital.
I need all your identifications.
Okay.
Now, what's this about?
I'm here to see my grandfather. He's in the hospital, and I brought my documentation to show that, you know, that I'm his grandson. And then I was looking through the documentation for the visitation, and it says on here for me to ask for the sergeant so that I could fill the proper paperwork out. You know, because he's in the hospital right now, and he's got early stages.
Who's your grandfather?
Charles Manson.
Charles Manson?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
It's just hard for me to. I see him in his last days, and it's just hard for me to see what's going on and not be able to
help him and
be there for his.
And yes, and I understand that, but we still got procedures we got to follow, and you still have to go through the process of getting cleared through the visiting and all that. But once you submit that paperwork, I mean, you can come every weekend, no problem.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
I just don't seem living, you know, much longer, and I just want to be beside him. That's all.
Okay. And that's understandable.
If he's got,
No, he still thinks on his own. He's not as bad as they're making it sound like it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't divulge anything to you, but I can let you know he's doing all right.
That's beautiful. Thank you for that. That's incredible.
I just opened up somehow. I think it was spiritually, because my mind was, was wrapped around being on the inside.
Without him sending you an application with his signature on it, that's just our policy. We don't allow visitation like that.
Even family?
It doesn't matter. He has to request those people to be authorized as visitors. Okay. Once he sends that request to you, you'd send it back to us, and then we'd process you, but it has to be at his request only.
Got it.
We can't force him to take a visit with somebody.
No.
And that's what I'm saying. So if I just took your application, that would be me forcing him, you know what I mean?
He's in the hospital, he's on his deathbed. Like I had everything. I had all my documentations from when I was a boy to link everybody up to who my father is. And, my grandfather had his set of rules at the prison, and everybody else had their own.
I'm so proud of you right now, bro. You're getting me all choked up.
I had to open up a little bit.
I know, but listen, and I know why we're here, and it's for the right thing. It's to love him in the final stages of his life, to let him know someone's here that cares.
Yeah. You know what the best feeling was, though? Right before the conversation was over, man, the one guard looked at me and said, "Jason, I want you to know that your grandfather's doing okay."
Even though I'm not supposed to be telling you.
I want you to know that your grandfather's doing okay.
That's right, man.
That was the best. I looked at him with a whole different perspective and respect.
It's going to get back to him that you were at this gate today. You mock my words. Mock my words.
JJ's pretty good with his words and speaking from the heart, and I think it was important for my grandfather to know that him and I were out there. It wasn't just me, but it was somebody that knew how to get word to him. And I want him to understand that every step I'm doing is to benefit his last wishes.
That's right, bro.
If his last wishes are to have his ashes in my corner, in my house, spread across the river, I'm going to do what he wants me to.
That's right, brother. I just told him, Jason, if you don't do it, they're going to throw him away like trash. And Jason said, that's not going to fucking happen. I'm not going to let them throw my grandfather in the trash. What do I have to do? And I said, we have to get you as the next of kin.
I filed the proper paperwork to prove to the courts that I am kin.
The reality is, you're me, and you're alive, man.
I feel like I'm on a journey. I just really want to grasp a hold of what people think from every side about my grandfather. While I'm in Los Angeles, California, I want to meet as many people as I can that could fill me in on my grandfather's path, who he was as a man from both sides of the coin. I want to figure out why people look at him as an icon, look at him as a god.
It was 1967 and the summer of love. Charlie had just gotten out of federal prison in LA.
And when it came time to parole him, he said that he didn't want to be paroled because prison was his home. And they literally had to escort him to the front gate of the prison and boot him out.
He took a bus up to the Bay Area and he was drawn to Berkeley. And Mary Brenner worked at the library at UC Berkeley, and she and Charlie met, and Mary got pregnant. Charles Manson wanted to put together a group of people to basically come along with him, this anti-establishment, peaceful, loving, sex-filled and drug-filled family. And he picked up these troubled, lost souls along the way wherever he could. And he picked them out because they had mommy or daddy issues, and he became kind of a father figure to them, a Christ-like figure to them, and he called them his children. And one by one, he pulled them in.
I met Charlie for the first time at a party through a couple of friends that took me there. It was magical. Charles Manson had, you know, like shoulder length, wavy hair. He was in his early 30s. He was very playful, played the guitar. He was a fairly good musician, and I think he had some aspirations that he would make some money from his songs. Charlie used his music to help, you know, indoctrinate us. He just had this way of convincing people of, you know, who they were and what they could do for him and what he could do for them.
And he had sex with them and told them whatever he thought they needed to hear, and they loved him.
And so he just really was cutting us all off. You don't need your mom and dad. He loved, you know, being super isolated.
The place where the Manson family lived was actually a movie set. It was called Spawn Ranch because it was actually the Spawn Movie Ranch, and that was its official name, named after the owner, George Spawn. And in turn for living there for free, they helped take care of the ranch and took the horses for rides and gave trail rides to visitors, and basically lived on the farm in the middle of nowhere where they felt like they could live however they wanted.
I didn't know who I was. I mean, I was so much, you know, a Charlie follower at that point that I didn't have my own mind. You know, he was definitely the one that led this group of people into doing what they did.
Innocent people were murdered for the reason Manson and the family wanted to start a race war.
The idea of someone striving as best that he could, you know, nearly 50 years ago, to spark a racial apocalypse with Helter Skelter.
Helter Skelter was the name of a Beatles song, but for Charles Manson, it was basically, you know, Armageddon.
Charlie was sure that the Beatles were like these four prophets that were communicating with him, that, you know, Helter Skelter was coming down, you know, the Blackbird song has something to do with the black man.
Blood written on the walls of the Sharon Tate mansion, and somehow implicating black revolutionaries who would be happen to passing through the neighborhood or something. The one thing that we do know about Charles Manson is that he was a racist.
This crazy Helter Skelter scenario that some people today still don't believe is really true, but it came out in testimony, and Vincent Bugliosi ended up calling it in court Helter Skelter, but even Manson called it Helter Skelter. It was a real thing.
I don't believe in Helter Skelter or Vincent Bugliosi's narrative. I never have. I believe he was convicted of things he wasn't guilty of.
Here we go. This is you walking for the first time, basically on what...
For me to see this man, Jason Freeman, Charles Manson's grandson, and the only thing he knows is what I consider to be ignorance. I felt really, really super bad for him, and just because I don't believe that Charles Manson is that person.
So here now we're coming down onto like the ranch proper, the famous view of the horizon.
Billy is completely passionate, 100% on my grandfather's bandwagon. I think it's very important for me to understand my grandfather through other individuals who were close to him. The more I learn about my grandfather, the more I can learn about myself from the inside out. You know, it's spiritual.
Down here would be, you know, the 2 rows of western towns, and then all the way down there, the horse corral. We had a driveway right here behind us. There's a very famous picture of Susan Atkins standing here on her tippy toes with the mailbox with those rocks behind her.
Okay.
Well, here you have it, the famous Life magazine Wave Cave, I guess as it's come to be known, a spot everyone likes to come to so much because of that iconic picture.
You know, was my grandfather here for that picture?
He was not here for the picture. That was after his arrest. Okay, the photographers came out here sometime, you know, later and staged shots of the family at the ranch.
Okay.
And so that was that. So from what I heard, a story like a past mouth to mouth was that he said, "What, that rock over there? That was just a rock, you know." But I imagine some people enjoyed this spot.
he's thinking all this bad stuff he's carrying with the rest of his confusion. I just tell him, hey, dude, you don't have to believe this. Like, you know, there's some things you ought to know maybe about your grandfather and what could have happened, not what they say happened.
You talk about asking if any places have any special significance. I would imagine that this place would have held some of the best memories for him. Why don't you pull up a seat on the rock, man?
All right. This rock?
This is the spot where your grandfather and his friends would come most of the time to play their music, a lot of the times at night. A spot where a musician, any musician, makes their music.
Yeah.
Is a really sacred spot to any musician, and this is a rock that has now come to be known as Charlie's Rock. Yeah, this is the spot where him and all his friends would come with all their instruments, party, play their songs, write their songs.
I never thought as a kid growing up that I'd be sitting on the same rock that my grandfather played on.
I'll tell you what, I'll tell you something else about it. You know, a rock carries vibrations, right? Almost like an amplifier. So if you think of your grandfather sitting here, playing those songs, it's got to give you a rush.
Did you hear some of the songs I wrote?
I got a couple of your albums.
Most of that stuff is just stuff that fell off the edge of the table.
Stand up for just one, or scoot over a little. You see this right here? What do you think that is?
Yeah. See, that's CM.
Urban legend is that he actually did carve his initials there in that rock.
I appreciate you bringing me here, man. This is a historical spot, obviously, and I got to see something I've never seen before. Every step of my journey opens up my eyes to something new. I highly appreciate it.
Well, I want you to remember that anytime you're feeling something else, you can always come back to this rock and sit right back down on it and get the same feeling that you're having right now, brother.
Yeah.
Let's go. All right, man.
Yeah, like guys like JJ and Billy and their passion for my grandfather was immensely high, and they had me thinking that my grandfather is innocent. People in general come at my grandfather from different angles. You know, JJ comes at him with overwhelming love. Billy comes at him with injustice. You know, we got to hammer down on the system, you know. And then you have Grey Wolf.
We use these to sort of get the word out. My initial connection to Charlie and the family just came from a random meeting with two people that knew him well, and they were the most righteous, beautiful people I ever met, and as soon as I was with them on a daily basis, I felt like I was home.
And outside the court, on the sidewalk, some more of Manson's followers were holding their daily vigil.
Grey Wolf's been there since 1970. I think he crawled on the ground to the courthouse with the girls. You can't get much closer than that.
We made some pamphlets, people that were supporting Charlie and visiting him and stuff. And these booklets, a lot of them have to do with ATWA, which was what Charlie was all about. ATWA, air, trees, water, animals. Charlie wrote a statement basically sort of explaining his take on ATWA and where he came, how he got to where he was, thinking about the land and the air and the water and the trees and the animals. Charlie's quote, "Work to show, teach, preach, set, prove to the ones you love, and work to redeem soul. All computers set for ATWA. Never lie, and we are ATWA." So, to me, it's a moment of fulfillment right here. We're standing here, everybody on the planet right now. We have choices that are going to make a big difference for people that come behind us.
I stand beside ATWA. There isn't no reason not to. I mean, it's the truth.
Meeting somebody like Jason, it's not something you go, oh, here's 5 things that you should know right away and you'll be fine. It's, you know, it's about living and being truthful.
The sun creates everything. I believe in the moon. I believe in the ocean, the tide, the whales, the bears, and the woods. I believe in everything, man.
I'm going to introduce you to a guy that's known your grandfather since the early 90s. Not too many people know him better than this guy. This is George Stimson. He's the author of Goodbye Helter Skelter.
Hi, Jason. Nice to meet you.
Hey, George, nice to meet you, sir.
Yeah. Well, I first met Charlie, I think, visiting in 1991.
I was pursuing this case for years. Other than reading about him superficially in news reports at the time, I would have thought, yes, crazed hippie cult leader, but I would say the first time I read Helter Skelter, I could see that that wasn't true, and that that was a gross misrepresentation of what went on. So that was the thing that initially got me interested in it, because I wanted to find out what really went on. I visited him almost 200 times over 10 years, and so I had a lot of chances to get to know him in different circumstances and see how he acted different ways and I acted different ways. It's not like, you know, people say, oh, you went in and, you know, he brainwashed you into writing this book. And it's like, no, I don't want to put your grandfather down, but Bugliosi says he's a master con man, and I would have to disagree with that. He's not that good. You know, and that's part of the problem he got in trouble back then, was helping people out, having all those people around him and helping them, because he just, that's his nature. It would be hard to summarize it except to say that he was not a cult leader. It was not a cult. He didn't have hypnotic powers over these people, that they were acting on their own, and they acted more as a result of circumstances rather than being told what to do by someone else.
I held a grudge on him for the death of my father due to an article that was in the newspaper that, you know, Manson's son visits Manson and then he blows his brains out.
He's very guarded with his emotions. He's very guarded with everything, really, you know. Yeah, he wouldn't say to me anything about your dad dying. That's not really something that I need to know from him.
So what can you tell me that would be something that I can hold on to? Well, I don't want to try to whitewash him, but really how good he is. And I'm not saying he's a good guy. He's a terrible guy. He's both. He's all of it. He's good and bad. Evil. He's good and evil. I'm not saying he's a good guy. I would certainly not want to be on his bad side, but then why would I ever be on his bad side? You know, I'm not going to get there. Yeah. I don't get on bad people's sides. I'm not in this world to make enemies. So that's why I try to tell people about me. I'm like, just stay on my good side, man. We're cool.
Yeah, he's fine. He's a very good guy. And he's a very bad guy, just so you realize that.
Yeah.
So he has a lot of experience with people, you know, from being in prison and relating with people in a kind of forced environment for so long. But he is, I'm not going to say deficient in some ways, but he doesn't have a lot of worldly experience, but he has an incredible amount of wisdom. I wanted him to know my impressions of the man, just to let him know, to give him a more rounded view of him. You know, I think what you're doing is right. It's coming from your heart and your soul, and it's the same heart and soul that's in him. So I hope you get together. I think you should.
I have my own opinion. It's a lot different than Jason's when it comes to these people. And when Jason started talking to them, it was almost like he was being pulled from what he thought and he knew into this whole crazy, just other world.
I wish I could have went with him to California. Now I wished I would have, just to see for myself, you know what I mean? Because I'd have been like, nah, you're not going around these people.
All of this extra information, and he's innocent, and these other people who are air, trees, water, animals. This was definitely the background noise.
Honor to meet you. Okay, thank you. Honor's all mine.
I get back from California. I just switched from one job to another job, the same profession. I got to travel back up to Ohio, back in the oil field, staying with my mom. My wife's back home. She has our kids. It's been difficult. Being on the road, it isn't easy.
To accept this call, say or dial 5 now.
They visit, they want to challenge you. They're going to say, you can't come in, we don't know you, you're not on the list, you're not approved. And it makes up 1,000 rules, man. You have to murder about 35 people before you can even start. Because I got ego trips that just despise me. They
everything I'm about because they're jealous, coward, punks.
I know that. You know, when I told JJ, I told John, I said, if I gotta knock somebody out to be beside my grandfather, I said, that's what I'll do.
I don't want that.
No.
Your grandfather don't want you doing that. Your grandfather wants you to raise your kids and have a good life.
I'm doing that. Hey, did you get my visitation form yet that I sent to you? Did you get my form?
No.
No.
That's what I'm telling you.
I know.
You're dealing with super bad people, man.
I know that.
These people swear they're assholes. They're triple assholes.
Hey.
I gotta go, folks. You have a good day.
Hey, man, I love you. Man.
Bob? Yeah. I'm in here.
What are you doing?
Heating up stuff for your grandma. I gotta get her supper.
Made it back in. I made it through another day.
You made it another day.
Uh-huh.
All right.
Love you.
Love you.
Oh, making some food, huh? I just happen to be starving. Did you hear the latest news about Grandpa?
What now?
He's back in the hospital again.
So he is in the hospital?
Yeah.
Is he bad sick this time, or?
Well, he's. Last year I found out that he had cancer. He's bleeding from the inside out. And
Jason, I didn't know he had cancer.
Yeah. Yep. And I don't know. I just wish something would give. I wish I would get a break to be able to go see him. I mean, it could be.
Is that what he's going to die from? Is cancer?
He could die any day. Yeah. I mean, if he's back in that hospital again a year later, same thing happening, and he's got cancer, and he's not going through any kind of radiation or removal of the cancer. Yeah, I mean.
Do they take care of you in prison when you're sick like that?
It's just a matter of time, you know. Yeah, they'll take care of you, but I just don't see him taking care of a 82-year-old man, a 83-year-old man. You know?
Yeah.
I think he's given up, Mom. I think he's just had enough.
I want to update our breaking news right now. Charles Manson, one of the most notorious murder masterminds in U.S. history, has died at the age of 83.
When I learned of my grandfather's death, I was at my mom's house. I had to let my wife know, and then in the same breath, I had to let her know that I didn't have that job in Ohio that we take care of our family with. There was two major things when I woke up. I didn't have a job, and I lost my grandfather.
Jason was emotional because, you know, he tried to get out there to see his grandfather, and he never got to do that. But I think he was prepared for it.
It's done. It's just done. People that like him or wow or worship him or whatever, you know, they're probably not going to really go around my son now because Jason wanted to make sure he was buried, and he didn't want him to be exploited anymore.
One thing I'll never forget, like, put a picture of Charlie and it said, "Burn in hell." I didn't believe it at first, you know, because I've heard it 100 times before. But then once I saw the news where Deborah Tate said it, once I saw Deborah Tate say, I knew it was real. When she said that the prison had called her, the prison calls Deborah Tate, but they don't call Jason.
When I talked to JJ on the phone, he was just in tears, man. Yeah, you know, his raspy voice, man, he's gone, bro, he's gone.
The thought of him laying up in that fucking funeral home right now, feeling unclaimed, it's just not gonna happen, bro.
No.
I'll die before I let that happen.
I wonder if he would have got to see him, how that would have turned out. If my son had actually gotten through to him, that we are family, and, you know, you do have people that genuinely worry about you and care about what might happen to you. And I don't think Charles had that in his whole life. So are you heading to California?
Yeah, that's our next plan. We have to secure the remains of Grandpa.
You think you'll get him?
I don't see how they can stop me. We got the proper paperwork, and we're on our way.
I think you're doing the right thing.
If an inmate dies and they don't have a will, they cremate him and throw him away. And I talked to Charlie about that, and he said, in the trash is where I belong. And he refused. For a year, we fought to have him sign, but you couldn't make Charlie do shit.
I want to go to California and claim my grandfather's remains, and I asked JJ to be with me. I met up with JJ in Venice, and we went over a game plan so we can see what to do next.
God, man.
Nice to see you.
How you holding up?
You know,
I hate that we have to meet under these circumstances, bro, but, you know, we got things we got to take care of. And I say we because you're going to win this, man. You're the only legal descendant of Charles Manson. We got to meet the lawyer. We got to get to the courthouse.
Yep.
And with the proper paperwork, we go get your grandfather and we bring him home. Once you get his body, what are you going to do?
This is what I want to do. This is me personally. This is everybody else off to the side. There's 5 people, 5 good friends of my grandfather's, and I want to do a ceremony, and I want to give each of my grandfather's friends something to remember him by and always have.
Wow.
That's my goal.
You're going to be under the microscope, brother. There's going to be a media frenzy when you walk out those doors with your grandfather in your head. There's going to be haters. There's going to be more death threats. You're sick. You're going to hear all that.
Oh, yeah.
Jason said, well, you know, I'm next of kin, and I'm going to do what's right, and I'm going to claim the remains. And once that was made public, that he was stepping out and was going to do that, social media kind of exploded on us. Our local newspaper has a Facebook page, and of course he was plastered all over the front page. We were called everything from trash to anything you could think of. Pretty nasty, actually.
When you get close to someone like Charles Manson, you get all this. You get attention, and sometimes it's real scary.
JJ and I were heading up to Bakersfield to claim my grandfather's body. I got a call from Audrey, and she was not happy. I don't want to put more pressure on you. I don't.
Yeah, well, you do. So maybe think about it first. Okay, you're out there fucking doing whatever. I'm trying to keep my head on. Very, very unhappy right now. And no fucking support. I can keep the house, fucking bills, fucking shit piling up on top of me. Letting go nobody here to help me.
You know, there's something wrong when you have formed your entire life around following one person. I mean, these people, well, you're going to do this, or we think you should do that. There was enough information given to keep him there. I felt like he was being drawn off the path that he knew he wanted, because all these people who supposedly were these close friends, you know, knew what was best because they knew Charlie. So, you know, Jason felt compelled to take the route that they were telling him to take.
It's been difficult. I've had a lot of challenges. Oh, the strain on the relationship is, you know, just like it feels like you just pull them ropes tight and you think them ropes are going to break. I just remember multiple times being away from home that the ropes just, you can hear them pulling tight. I believe in my higher power that me and my wife are going to come through this and become stronger.
You know, if I can suggest something, I would say that play a little mind game with them and say that I was told that the Kearns County was trying to get in touch with the next of kin, and the next of kin is here. My name is Jason Freeman. I'm the grandson, and I would like any information that you can give me. And if you can't, can you at least point me in the right direction?
Okay.
And that I would just go from there. It's Manson, man, he's right here. We're this close to him. Kern County Coroner, we're in the right place, brother. After you.
Hello. Okay, thanks, ma'am. Hi, ma'am.
How are you?
I'm okay. Just trying to walk through some rough steps, you know, whenever someone passes away, it's just,
Yeah, I know that.
it's not easy.
Manson.
Yes, ma'am.
I recognize you. Good seeing you.
They were looking for you.
Yes, ma'am. I got word that you guys were looking for me to fill the proper documentation out for my grandfather, Charles Manson. Well,
next of kin, he's the next of kin.
Yep.
Please, that would be great. Thank you. Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
I personally, I don't know anything about Mr. Manson, but he's just a person to me.
Yep.
I know his past or what he did, but you know, I don't know anything about it. Like people say, I live on a rock,
Details,
but,
yeah.
just
Yeah. I try to leave the details out of it too, especially in a time like this. It's just, you know, I'm here for one thing, and that's to, give my grandfather a resting place.
yeah, that's all we all want at the end of the day.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
All right, come on back.
Yeah, thank you.
Good luck, fella.
Yes.
Establishing who is the legal next of kin.
Yes, ma'am. It's great meeting you.
Yeah, brother.
Walking out of the coroner's office, man, it was the first time in a long time where when you go into a place of authority, where you walk into certain rooms and you can actually walk back out freely because there's nothing holding you there. A weight that was holding me down for the longest time was a lot of people didn't believe who I was. Like, they didn't expect me to show up today and just hand them paperwork. They expected to get something in the mail. And she said, well, we just have to go through the people that have stepped up and see who is family and see who isn't.
That's you,
but
man.
all your documentation has shown us that you are related. And
yes. Fuck yeah, brother. Proud of you, man.
And for them to recognize me and my grandfather as being family, that's all I needed. I was happy.
Huge step for the good guys. And being the decision makers, that looks good in your favor, bro. That you took the initiative to come in. Guarantee you're the only one to do that.
After I left the coroner's office, I had this satisfaction on the inside, and I've already laid enough on Audrey, and she's already consumed enough of what's going on around her. I had to make the right phone call. You know, who am I supposed to call and tell this exciting news to? Well, it's exciting to me, may not be exciting to the rest of the world, but I knew my mom could respect it. See what Mom's up to.
Hello?
Mother,
Hey, how's it going?
what are you doing?
Oh, I'm just sitting here.
Uh-huh.
Watching TV, and I just wanted to know how your day went before I went to bed.
Yeah. Things went well. We actually went to the Kern County Coroner, and they actually let me in the back, and I was able to show all the all the court documentations that you saved for me from birth, and all the stuff that you saved, Mom, and you gave me, I used today.
And have all the answers.
And have all the answers.
Tried to get a hold of Audrey.
Uh-huh.
I told her I wanted to talk to you. Before I went to bed, she said she was going to bed. She never answered me back.
No, whenever she has some hard days at work, Mom, and I just gotta make sure I'm there for her, mentally, and I'm just not there physically, and that's the hard part right now. I gotta go, Mom.
All right, bye.
Okay, I love you. Bye. I met Dale Kickin through JJ. My intentions were to claim my grandfather's body. That was Dale's job. Dale was the perfect guy to be in my corner. We got one shot at this.
As far as the court was concerned, up in Kern County, their big issue there is we have a body. We need to have someone take the body or give us permission to dispose of it or intern it ourselves. The code section in California basically talks about if there aren't any identifiable immediate relatives, then it would be the next of kin. When you have contact with, as you did with the sheriff, that tends to diminish the trustworthiness of the attorneys that are representing you in the eyes of the sheriff. So it's best to uphold the attorney-client privilege and to preserve your right not to speak, not to give testimony by having an attorney who makes statements for you and who has contact with officials. So to underscore that, I would say, please do not have further contact with any of the authorities, be it the sheriff, be it the Corcoran facility, court clerks, judges. So
I've got you to help me protect myself from me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The county council up in Kern County did a very good job of exploring the issues and the possible claimants. There were Michael Channels and Matthew Lentz. We believe that a will that was prepared by Mr. Channels may, under California law, be deemed to be conclusively the product of fraud and therefore invalid. So we've laid the groundwork for that determination. Matthew Lentz, who you had a circumstance with many years ago where his DNA was compared with yours, having the presumption that you in fact are the son of Charles Manson Jr., who was in fact the son of Charles Manson, that your DNA would be a good guideline to compare with his. And as I understand it, the determination was that you couldn't possibly be relatives.
Yes.
Which would mean that he couldn't possibly be a relative of Charles Manson.
A piece of my grandfather's going to go down in history. We don't need to have people spreading my grandfather's ashes all over the United States, and it's got to end now.
The next problem would be who else is an heir that might be claiming. So we need to see who else might be out there. We want to err on the side of giving notice to everyone possible.
Charles Manson, my former guru lover, I lived with him for 2 years, and the family. Mary Bruner was the first woman, I believe, that Charlie met in San Francisco. She adored him, and she had his baby, which we named him Pooh Bear, and I was there at that birth.
So if there is an heir that has a greater right because they're closer than you are, for instance, if there is a son that makes the claim, his right would be greater than yours.
There's only one person generally acknowledged to be Charles Manson's son alive, which was my client, Michael Brunner.
his name has become synonymous with terror.
In California, 5 members of a so-called religious cult, including Charles Manson, the guru or high priest, have been indicted in the murder of Sharon Tate and 6 others.
His sadistic murder shocked the world. Charles Manson was charged with controlling and directing the killers.
I don't have any guilt. I know what I've done.
Todesstrafe in Kalifornien.
And now, 50 years later, he remains the face of evil. From behind bars, he seeks out his final victim, his own family.
You have a prepaid call from an inmate at the California State Prison, Corcoran.
Searching for closure from a criminal who shares the same blood.
My grandfather, Charles Manson.
I wish I could bring you into what I'm doing.
It's hard to look back and know where you come from.
I did not want my son around that. I didn't want him to think that that was in him, because that would have been his bloodline.
What's going to happen to me? Am I going to kill somebody? Is this in the family tree? Is this in the genes, in the blood? I want to face him face to face. I want to know the answers because I'm sick of feeling lost. No matter who he is, he's still family.
Understanding me is understanding yourself. The reality is me. There is no self. There's mind me.
Mind me.
Mind me. Get yourself all the way back to me.
I want to update our breaking news right now. Charles Manson, one of the most notorious murder masterminds in U.S. history, has died at the age of 83. The California Department of Corrections says he died of natural causes on Sunday. Manson was serving 9 consecutive life sentences for murder and conspiracy to commit murder for ordering a wave of killings back in 1969.
At 8:30 this morning, Winifred Chapman, an employee, came to work at 10050 Cielo and found several bodies in the house, and immediately the police were notified.
Friday night in Los Angeles, a movie actress and 4 of her friends were murdered. The circumstances were lurid. The movie actress was Sharon Tate, 26.
The pregnant actress, who was married to the director Roman Polanski, was brutally murdered, along with 4 of her friends.
Charles Manson is the quintessential, most notorious murderer ever. Helter Skelter was the name of a Beatles song, but for Charles Manson, it was basically, Armageddon.
His interpretation was there was going to be a race war, and it would be blacks against whites, and the blacks would rise up and defeat the whites, but they wouldn't be able to run the world, and Charlie would rise up out of the desert, and he would take over everything.
A short time later, not far away, a middle-aged couple was found murdered in similar circumstances.
The so-called Manson family killed again, tying up and murdering a wealthy couple.
He wanted to show that the beautiful, rich people needed to be killed, murdered 2 more people for a total of 7 horrible, mutilated stabbings and killings.
Los Angeles police have connected some members of a nomadic gang with the murders of actress Sharon Tate and others.
Sharon Tate was 8.5 months pregnant, and she was just picked at random. Manson didn't know her. None of the family members knew her. Sharon Tate begged for her life. She said, "Please don't kill me. I just want to have my baby." And Susan Edkins said, "Look, bitch, I don't care about you or your baby. You're going to die, and you better be ready for it, and I don't feel a thing about it." Susan Edkins had dipped a towel in Sharon Tate's blood and then wrote "pig" on the front door. Yeah, it was definitely a gruesome scene.
All the elements are present for one of the most sensational murder trials in American history.
He was a detestable excuse for a human being. I mean, Manson was in it for Manson.
everyone else existed to do his bidding by becoming famous for the murders.
The shaved heads and the X's in the courtroom when Charlie would nod and they would say the same thing in unison. I mean, I've never seen anything quite like that.
Today, the judge formally passed sentence on Charles Manson and his girls. The death penalty, he said, for 7 senseless murders. He said not only was the sentence appropriate, but almost compelled in this case. So, death in the gas chamber, he said.
Do you believe that there should be a death penalty?
A death penalty?
Yes, for someone who commits a murder or something like that.
Aren't we all born to die?
Charles Manson was originally sentenced to death, but in 1972, the death penalty was overturned as unconstitutional, and so he and the rest were then commuted to get life sentences.
Yeah, I'm going back down in a old hole. How do you feel like it was good here?
That was one of the hardest things I've ever done. Was just to get my grandfather to the funeral home.
I'll just get out of your way. I'll let you guys have your time together.
Kelly, you had a prepaid call from Charlie. An inmate the California State Prison, Corcoran, California. To accept this call, say or dial 5 now.
What's going on?
If we could communicate, I could show you another level of reality that has never been accepted.
Yep.
Don't carry a bunch of trash around your head.
I sent you a postcard.
Anything, I'll trick you. I'll trick you and tie you up. But I don't think you can get to me. Because I'm too deep. See it?
I see it.
We're calling it prison. These fucking assholes. They don't realize what they're going to get for it.
That's it. Conversation over. My cousin told me who my grandfather was. I was young, I really didn't understand it, so I went home and asked my mother. She asked me not to talk about it.
It was just something that I never talked about. And nobody else in the family would really talk to him about it. I didn't want him to think that that was in him, because that would have been his bloodline.
I did a little bit of research, and they talked about a cult leader, people were killed, and I saw the swastika and the crazy talk, all this dramatic stuff, and I thought, is this part of who I am?
Charles Manson is serving his life sentence for murder in San Quentin prison. That is where we talked with him. He never heard you express remorse. Have you never felt it?
Remorse for what? You people have done everything in the world to me. You know, if I wanted to kill somebody, I'd take this book and beat you to death with it, and I wouldn't feel a thing. Believe me, if I started murdering people, there'd be none of you left.
I couldn't imagine what it would be like to be related to Charles Manson. I'm just curious, how do you go through life with that name?
Charles Manson is part of my bloodline, and I don't have a choice. I have to live with that.
Understanding me is understanding yourself. The reality is, in me.
Max, all these years.
Max, you want to put this stuff back in my car? And
AJ would say it.
Yeah, he would say it.
He would say it. Say the bad word.
I met Jason when I was 22. I told my mom, I said, hey, I met this guy. And, you know, he said that he's the grandson of Charles Manson, and her face, you know, her eyes got real big. And she said, well, we're not going to tell your dad about this for quite some time.
You don't really want to be known for being a so-called killer's grandson.
He's doing the fridge, that goes up.
I'll get phone calls out of the blue. It'll be an unknown caller, so I'll send it over to the voicemail, and yeah, they tell me they just want to kill me. They know where I live. It's like, why you want to kill me? They know what my grandfather did. That's 50 years ago. That's why I have guns in my house now. That's why I have cubby holes set up. I even stage my backyard out sometimes.
You know, where I live is a small town, but I mind my own business. I stay away from people because I don't want them to ask me about it. Those people that commit those murders, they don't realize what they're doing to the people left behind. First time I talked to Charles Manson on the phone, I was definitely nervous. I'm still angry. I still have resentment. On one side, he's family and I want to get to know him, and then on the other hand, I hate him. So in my eyes, we had a long way to go, and it was going to take time. My grandfather's famous in California. That's where he created all of his notorious fame. But he grew up in West Virginia.
Charles' mother was Kathleen. Her mother had not very much to say that was good about her. I heard that she had quite a bad reputation. She would lure men home, and then her brother would beat them up and rob them.
Kathleen Maddox was a girl who liked to have fun. And Kathleen just wanted to go out and drink and party. She had a very religious upbringing. Her mother was Nazarene. Kathleen was only 15 when she got pregnant, and her lover at the time, Colonel Scott, was 24, and he didn't want to marry her. So he left, and she ended up an unwed, pregnant teenager, and so she had to go and find a husband, which she did 4 months before Charlie was born, and they got married to give her son a name. Kathleen was arrested with a roommate and her brother, Luther, for basically taking this guy in a bar, dancing with him, and then saying, hey, let's go party. They grabbed a ketchup bottle, filled it up with salt, hit him over the head with it, stole his car, and left him by the side of the road. Charlie would go to visit his mother at the prison, and she told him that she was cleaning the area where they were executing prisoners, and she hid in a closet and watched one. So when he was ultimately convicted and sent to death row, that memory really resonated with him and came back to actually have an impact on his life.
And I also knew that she didn't want to take care of Charles. She put him in a home, and when he ran away, she took him right back. So he didn't have near the life that you'd want for any child.
Charlie was in reform schools, juvenile detention facilities, because he just kept stealing cars and running away and escaping. And in order to punish him, the only thing they could do was send him to a more secure facility. So while he was in these institutions, he got an education that was entirely different from that the rest of us get.
So his grandmother agreed to let him live with her if he attended church, because that was important to her. And that arrangement was what brought him here. His grandmother had a big heart, one of the nicest people I've ever met. And it was evident that she cared a lot about Charles. He was only with his grandmother through the first, maybe part of the second grade. I think anybody would have loved to have her for their grandmother. She knew her Bible backwards and frontwards, and that would have been the saving grace for Charles if he had listened to her.
Growing up in Benwood, McMecken area, it was all railroaders and people who worked in the steel mills. That was primary. There was some coal miners, but it was a nice place.
It was a good town to grow up in. I met Charlie actually one time. I happened to be on Marshall Street in front of Joseph's confectionery, and Charlie had his back up against the confectionery, and we were just talking, but the thing that made an imprint on me was the fact that he had a machete.
He seemed to be very quiet to me. He didn't talk a whole lot.
He wasn't swinging it maliciously, but he was just going back and forth, and we spoke for a short period of time and then went our ways.
I had a Halloween party with the Sunday school and invited Charles to come, and he did. He came dressed as a carnival barker, but my cousin and I were the only ones who spent time with Charles. And I think he went home just a little bit hurt.
Rosalie was a kind of outgoing person and very attractive.
Charles went to Wheeling Downs, which is a horse racing track, and Rosalie's father always took her with him. Charles met her there, and they hung out the whole day, and she was the one.
By all accounts, Rosalie Willis was Charlie Manson's first and only true love in his life.
I was at Charles's wedding reception, and I have to say, I would imagine that was the happiest day of his life. He was just beaming, smiling the whole time. And I think Rosalie was only 15. Then they left and went to California. And as I understand, life went pretty sour after that.
Charlie and Rosalie went out west in a stolen car, and eventually the law caught up to Charlie and he was arrested. So he went to jail. Rosalie was pregnant, and she came to visit him for a short time with the baby and then stopped coming.
I can remember hearing that she was pregnant, and I assumed that she did have a son with Charlie.
The one thing that I always admired around here is the local press would never, ever reveal her son's name.
Charles Manson Jr. was named after his father, obviously, but when Rosalie started dating a truck driver named Jack White and started a family with him, she wanted her child to match her other children with her new husband, so she renamed him Jay White.
Jay and I started dating. He was a lot of fun. He always made you laugh. And he was a gentle guy. He wasn't mean or nothing. He was really nice. He said he never knew his dad, had never met his dad. And so then when his dad committed those murders, he was just a kid, and he didn't understand. When I met your dad, I met a boy named Jay White. That's what he called himself. Jay started telling us that his dad was Charles Manson, and we didn't even know who Charles Manson was.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we were just kids. I never thought much about it. Yeah. Then when I went up to Cadiz and met Jay's family.
Oh, so they admitted to it there at that point?
Mm-hmm. So the thing is, when Jay went to get his driver's license, his ID had to be Charles Millis Manson Jr. Because you can't go by Jay White legally.
Right. I didn't think it was legally changed.
No, not then. No, it wasn't. It wasn't legally changed. And to be honest with you, he had two Social Security cards, one in Jay White and one in Charles Manson Jr. Now, how he did that, I don't know. I don't even know how his mother did it. I don't know who did it. When anything legal come up, he had to go under Charles Manson.
Oh, he had to? Holy cow.
So then when he got a job in the coal mine, he had to go in under Charles Manson. We were never married.
Uh-huh.
And he just wasn't there when you were born. When he was little, his father was my husband, Dink. His nickname is Dink, but his real name's Glenn. I just told him that he had a different dad, but he didn't. He lived far away and wasn't able to come and see him.
At a young age, I didn't really understand why he wasn't around. I grew up knowing that I had a biological father, but he didn't engage in activities with me. I can't say that it was very troublesome at that time because my stepfather filled that void. All I ever heard was my grandfather. He's a killer, he's a boogeyman, he's a cult leader, he murdered all these people.
It was such a horrific murder that it dominated the headlines at the time. A family of crazy people who were under the influence of Charles Manson, that he was able to convince them to do this. It was just a shocking incident.
There was so much hatred for Charles Manson that anytime my father's name came up, it like the house exploded, shit shut down. It's like, it can't be talked about. You know, somebody give me some answers.
Jay told me that he tried to see his dad, but his dad wouldn't see him. You know, if that's true or not, I don't know. But I believe that he did write to him or try to see him. The older your dad got, and the more he talked about Manson. I didn't want him around you because I didn't want you around those kind of people.
Like why or what? You know, what do you...
He couldn't understand why his dad wouldn't see him. He couldn't understand why his dad wouldn't answer his letters. He wanted to see him because he wanted to meet his dad and find out why he never had a dad. Well, it should be pretty evident why you don't have a dad. He's a criminal. He's in prison. It hurt him the most in his lifetime, but I didn't want him shoving it over onto you because you just grew up completely different. You had a mom and a dad. We had a family. And that's something Charles didn't have, something Jay didn't have. So I was actually happy as you got older that I didn't have to deal with him.
Oh.
But I never said it to you. I never wanted to run your dad down in front of you or nothing.
With the Tate LaBianca murders, those choices snowballed into my family's life, right? They snowballed right into my father's life. He didn't ask for it. He was born into it. As a father, I think of my children. I want to be in their lives because I know what it's like to not have my father in my life.
I met Jay in the probably mid-70s, just going into the bar with my friends after work. And at that time, the Manson murders were only 5-6 years ago. You could actually tell from, after you got to know him and talking to him and stuff, you could see there was a lot of anxiety that he was definitely holding within.
I didn't realize that he fought so many demons. When my father would come back in town, I would get a letter, I'd get a card, I'd get something for my birthday, I'd get a Christmas gift. He didn't know how to be a part of my life. He didn't know how to be the father that a child needs.
Maybe he personally saw things in himself like, hey, that's way too much like my dad. And I think maybe that might have scared him. Several times I've personally heard him say, how can I go on being Charles Manson's son?
It was in the afternoon, my freshman year, and they pulled me out of school. I didn't know why yet. My mom didn't come pick me up. Nobody told me what was going on yet. Because they were just telling me how sorry they were, and I'm like, what's going on, Mom said that she got a call from Grandma Rosie and said that my father pulled him aside the road and shot himself. I was angry after my father's death. There was a lot of unanswered questions, emotions that would come up out of the blue.
I couldn't believe he would do something like that. I was shocked, really shocked.
On the day that we buried him, I remember Grandma turning to me and looking at me and saying, "Now it's buried." She said, "We're putting a rock on top of it." End of story. I don't ever want to hear his name again. And I didn't understand what she was talking about because I was only a freshman in high school and I didn't even know how to accept the death of my father yet.
And it's very confusing for him why normal kids get to have regular grandparents and parents, and not only has he not seen his could probably be one of the biggest villains in the country. So it was tough for him to even talk about.
I started writing Charlie in 1999. It was more like, I wonder if he'd write back. It was curiosity. I wrote a poem entitled The 5 Cold Tears of San Quentin. It touched him enough to write me back, asked for my phone number. I gave it, and he called, and the rest is history. We've just maintained this friendship. I got a phone call, and Charlie said, "Hey, man, I need a favor." Charlie likes to send you on these missions. Manson asked me to find his son, Junior, because there was a rumor that he had committed suicide. And I think Manson was looking for confirmation because he didn't believe it. There was no proof, he said. He's out there, there's no, find him for me. So when I did, and sure enough, it led me to Colorado. I had to pay, I think it was like $14 for a copy of the death certificate, and right on the death certificate, it's got the same date of birth, AKA Charles Manson Jr., Jay White, and I sent it to Charlie. Sad to say, but it's true, Charlie. He committed suicide in 1993.
After my father, Charles Manson Jr., died, I seemed to get into a lot of trouble.
It was just another negative he had to deal with. One more thing for him to try to pretend that everything was okay, but it was eating him up.
I had the tunnel vision of a young kid. I was always on probation every summer. Vandalism, petty theft.
He sold drugs, he got in trouble for it, and I really didn't know he was doing all that.
I spent 8 months in prison and 6 months in a rehabilitation halfway house. I think I was so out of control that going to prison would be a blessing. I would always find something positive out of it so that I didn't kill my own spirits. When I was locked up, I had about 4 months left, and I ran into a guy who opened up to me, and he said, "Jason, I won the 1982 Tough Man tournament." And I'm like, "So you fought?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "That was a big achievement for me," and he's like, "Nobody can ever take it away from me." I'm like, "Yeah, that's awesome. You know, he won the championship." I'm thinking, it's like, man, Freeman, you're more than this. You're better than this. Lift yourself up out of where you're at. When I got out, I made a new goal that I was going to get into boxing and mixed martial arts.
Moving on to our second of 3 main events, Jason the Freebird Freeman.
I had heard about Jason just from his fight career, but I hadn't met him. I didn't know who he was personally. I was 22 and I was bartending. A friend of mine had bought this establishment and we weren't open yet, and there was this knock at the door. So there stood these 3 big guys wanting to come in and eat wings, and one of them was Jason. So he was there all night flirting with me, and every time I would serve him a beer, he would, tip me $5, $10, $20, whatever it was. So yeah, I think he pretty much bought me the first night. It was about a week into us dating. He said, "Well, you're gonna hear something." And he said, "I'm just gonna tell you now." He said that my grandfather's Charles Manson. He didn't get into a whole lot with me because we were so fresh in our relationship.
I'm like fighting my way out of my hometown. and fighting my way away from my past. It feels like a family tree has a branch around you, just slowly taking its time to suck the last piece of breath out of you. Well, at the end of my career, I realized that I had to grow up and get a real job. So I could either go in a hole and work in the mines, or I can go up high and work in the oil field. And I thought, well, you can't bury a free bird underground, so I had to pick the oil field.
At that time, Jason's stepdad was still alive. So it was kind of something that I understood wasn't talked about. It wasn't until Jason's stepdad passed away, and then it seemed like more and more and more he felt more free to talk about his real dad and then talk about his grandpa. So I didn't learn about a lot of his life, of course, till later on.
I knew it was a matter of time before it did come out. Those things are going to surface. I wanted to be that one to let it come out.
You have to be awful comfortable in your own skin. If that's a decision you made and you want to go public with it and acknowledge it, you have to be 100% sure why you're doing it and to be able to walk down the street with your head held high, because you can't put that genie back in the bottle. Once you say you're his grandson, that's it.
Today, this member of the real Manson family says, enough.
I am who I am. You know, I'm not something that he was. CNN was working with Matthew Roberts, Lentz, for quite some time.
And he claims to be a son of Manson, alleging that his mother was involved in this wild orgy with Manson.
Roberts tried to get a DNA match with genetic material from Charles Manson himself, but the samples were contaminated. But there is another way to establish the family link. Matthew Roberts and Jason Freeman, if they're related, will share Manson's DNA.
They had us on camera to see if we're related. And I thought I was going to see my uncle. You know, I thought, I mean, he looks like he's got the big old bug eyes.
And we determined with scientific certainty that you do not share a common biological ancestry.
No match on any level. But everything has a reaction, and everything has a ripple effect. Being on CNN with Matthew Lentz for a DNA test, the ripple effect worked its way all the way to my grandfather.
A buddy of mine called me and said, hey man, you need to turn on this news channel, quick. And I said, why? He said, man, do it quick. So I turned it on, and sure enough, there was Jason Freeman. In the caption below, it said, grandson of Charles Manson. And right away, I said, well, here we go again. And just another guy claiming to be related to Manson. But what stood out to me was when they asked him about his father, Charles Jr., and here I see this 6-foot burly cage fighter crying, there's some real emotion there. So I found him. I wrote him a letter.
I got a letter from John Michael Jones, just opening up and pouring out his heart. I call him up and I'm like, hey John, this is Jason Freeman.
And I'm like, hey man, hey, I'm glad you called. I says, let me introduce myself. I'm a friend of your grandfather's, and you know, he asked me to reach out to you.
He opened up and shared with me how he really truly loved my grandfather.
Manson called not even a night or two later, and I says, hey, you're not gonna believe who I talked to. He's like, yeah, who's that? I said, your grandson, Junior's kid. Junior had a kid. I said, okay, he's got pictures of Rosalie, he's got pictures of Junior, death certificate, birth certificate, and he got quiet. He's like, pictures of Rosalie? I'm like, he's got pictures of Rosie, Charlie. He's like, yeah, but are they pictures that... I said, no, these are pictures I've never seen. He's like, you've never seen any of them? I said, none of them. It's him. All right, I need you to find out more about this guy. I said, I already did. I already talked to him on the phone. Oh, so I mean, what's he look like? Who's he look like? Is he fat? For some reason, that was important to him. How many kids he got? You know, what color hair do they have? Does any of them have freckles? Like what kind of questions are that? Like freckles. But then as I started to ponder that after the 15-minute phone call, I started to think, those are grandfatherly questions. you know? So I started to slowly feel Charlie accept Jason.
Most people's childhood memories are their grandpa bouncing on their knee, or grandpa usually teasing their grandsons, and Jason never had that from his biological father, and never had that from his grandfather. So I think it's Jason's inner need to connect with his roots.
I hope to get Jason one step closer to meeting his grandfather. It's important for me to do that because I think it's going to benefit Charlie just as much as Jason, if not more.
You have a prepaid call from an inmate at California State Prison, Corcoran, California.
The first time I talked to Charles Manson on the phone is when I was in the oil field. It was a little loud, but I made sure that I was on time by the phone, because when you call from prison, you get one call. So my grandfather's first conversation, he started venting about his case. He actually informed me of a lot of what he thought, that his rights were taken from him. He was wrongfully accused for the murders that he wasn't present at. So he was informing me of the rights that were pulled from him back in the 70s.
How comes the court shirked and turned their backs on me and wouldn't give me my rights? When it come to defense time, they said, we're taking too long, and this covered it up and told the public another outburst, another Manson outburst. What defense did I put on? What witness did I call? Did I call one witness? Yeah, I got peace. But until everybody's got peace, I can't have peace. In other words, I got you. But I can't have you until everybody else gets you. And then when everybody else gets through with you, then I'll get you.
I was still angry about my father's death, and I was pointing that finger right at him.
When Jason was interacting with Charles, I was really shocked. I didn't like it at all. He was a grown man. I guess I can't stop him, but I did not like it.
I really wanted to know what they talked about. Like, you don't tell him where we lived or anything. I mean, the fact that he was in California, I was good with that. Like, I know he's not coming here, so, you know.
I like for us to keep talking more. I like to record our phone calls.
Yeah, haven't you been doing it?
As we continued phone calls for the first year, that was, one of the hardest things of my life.
In the beginning, they were both very standoffish. I think first, Charlie has a lot of people who want to contact him and do contact him, and then Jason was kind of at a loss, what do I even say? So he was struggling to carry on conversations.
Did you do what I asked you?
Not yet.
Yeah, I figured. I knew you couldn't have did it if you tried real hard. You're incompetent and brain dead.
Fuck you.
You're upset, and then you're going to get mad if you tell me the truth.
Hey, I ain't upset. Just don't get mad at me if I tell you to fuck off. It's all right.
Charlie had a lot of regrets, and one of them was not being there for Junior. And I think he was, in a sense, trying to make it up through Jason. I think he had regrets for not what he called parenting. He wasn't a parent to this one or that one.
Because I've never been parent to you. I've never been anything to you in particular.
Well, we haven't had that chance to, until now, to understand each other more. And
well, understanding me is understanding yourself, and you're a long way from that.
it was hard not to place all that anger and the death of my father on his shoulders. I thought that my father couldn't handle the pressure of who his father was, and that's why he killed himself.
Can you imagine a guy that would commit suicide because he couldn't stand what somebody else did? That guy must have been he was really warped, man. What would you do in a situation that had a lot of pressure to it?
Are you asking me that question?
Yeah, well, you knew the guy. I didn't know him.
As we got to know each other, and he told me that he didn't get the messages, he didn't get the letters, he didn't get the stuff from my father that was sent out there. He said that there was so much going on, and there was so many people, he didn't know who was who and who was real. And he just didn't want to bring him into that same darkness that he's created for himself.
You had a prepaid call from the California State Prison, Corcoran, California. Only I can lock me up. Everything in the world is in my mind. I rule me. Me's all there is to me. See it?
Last year, we were in my garage, and Manson had called him, and he put him on speakerphone.
I'm everybody. I'm everywhere. I'm everything. I'm nothing. I never was. I've always been. The paradoxes, like the double entendres that are one way and the other way. I know, but I don't know. I don't know that I don't know. If I don't know that I don't know, how could I know what knowing is?
I started thinking to myself, here's my buddy who's chased this and trying to get some answers and some soul searching, and this is the conversation that he gets with his grandfather. It wasn't much of a conversation. It was just Charles Manson talking.
I could tell you things about spiders and solitary confinement that you wouldn't believe. You can't be too smart. You've got to be on a low-life level to understand the low-life consideration.
At that point, I didn't know how good it was for him emotionally to continue to make these phone calls to the prison. But it also wasn't my business. My job was just to support him.
I tried to tell my son that. I said, Jason, he's a criminal. He's always going to be a criminal. He just is who he is. Just from what you see on interviews and stuff, how crazy he talks.
Kids, see, it's your life. It's not mine. I'm just another guy walking down the road going, how many times I got to go through, where's God at? She said, I've got a face and a principle. What is it?
I just didn't want him filling Jason's head full of crap.
There's good in Charles Manson. I don't care what anybody else thinks. It's there. The evil things that he was involved with, that's the evil side of life.
Charlie began to see that Jason wasn't a struggling actor or a starving musician, but that he was just an average Joe, and a dad who was just supporting his children, a family man who just wanted to know his grandfather.
I think that he's proud that he's his grandson, and look what he's overcome. Like, could everybody else in this room, could everybody else that may watch this, could you be Charles Manson's grandson and then develop a family like him and, be an entrepreneur and be as successful as him and have beautiful kids and a wife?
You had a prepaid call from the California State Prison, Corcoran, California. How's your kids, man?
Man, they're doing good, brother.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they're going to grow up like the kitchen, man.
At first, I would, he would be talking, oh, here's my wife, Audrey. I mean, he was as close to normal that you can include in the same sentence with Charles Manson, but fairly normal.
Who are you going to vote for?
Me?
You're going to vote for Trump? What about Hillary? Because you're doomed if one wins and you're damned if the other one wins.
So in the beginning, he didn't start talking to the kids. You know, it wasn't until after Jason and him had kind of developed a relationship, and then he wasn't the crazy monster that he was made out to be.
I don't like the thought of the kids knowing stuff.
He would call our house, you know, the kids would talk to Charlie on the phone. It was just kind of like, hey, your grandpa's on the phone.
Yeah, they reflect you.
That's why I have to keep myself in check, because my kids are following what I do.
You're working regular? That's what counts. You got kids, you gotta have that job, man.
Take care of your kids, take care of your family.
Take care of yourself, that's all you got, man.
Yeah.
You certainly don't have me.
I get it.
Yeah, I'm a cold dude, man. I feel hard like a mother. I leave you sitting in this cell and I be up on a train.
I'll be in your back pocket. Yeah, I ain't going nowhere.
Jason never looked at it like he was talking to a cult serial killer. He was always talking to his grandfather.
I'm his grandson. I can't look at him as just being evil.
Overall, I think Jason came out of those years with some sort of connection with his grandpa.
Well, I'm looking for some relief from this dilemma that I'm on the horns of this devil I'm riding over here. I'm trying to figure out a way to get out from out underneath this bullshit, and I can't find a way.
Well, however I can contribute to help my grandfather, I would do that, because if you're family, and nothing comes in between that. It wasn't a goal at first. It wasn't like something that off the top of my head I'm like, one day I want to see my grandfather. I know my mom's asked me in the past, hey, do you ever want to see your grandfather? And then I didn't have a reason to.
I supported him in whatever happened. So if he wanted to go, I was supporting that. If he didn't want to go, I was supporting that.
As I got older, as my kids grew, and as my kids got older, I think of my father, I think of my grandfather, and just kind of rolls full circle. And why wouldn't I want to meet him?
He had COPD. He had a bad heart. He was complaining of all different kinds of things. But mainly the cancer weakened him. He was bleeding a lot.
You have a prepaid call from an inmate at the California State Prison, Corcoran, California.
Hey, Grandpa, I'm supposed to ask you for a visitation paperwork so I can come and visit you.
Yeah.
I need.
Let me explain something to you, man.
Okay.
You're a cage fighter. You understand what it's like to fight for what you get.
All right.
When I came to prison, if you want to visit, you go to the front gate and you tell the guy I want to visit Charles Manson, and they can't stop you.
Welcome back, everyone. Cult leader Charles Manson has reportedly been moved from prison to a hospital here in California. Sources telling the LA Times the convicted mass murderer is in serious condition.
It was no secret, Charlie was very sick. And it was different this time because he started to lose weight, a lot of weight. I just knew it was it. I felt it.
I thought this guy can't last much longer.
As he gets older, no matter who he is, he's still family. I want to be beside him. I believe that the first time I see my grandfather could possibly be the last time I see my grandfather.
Jason's ready to go to California. And you know, it's almost one of those things when you feel in your gut that you have to do something and it's got to be fairly quickly. That's how he feels.
I just couldn't sit at home anymore, working every day, knowing that he's on his deathbed, in and out of the hospital.
The major thing is preventing Jason from seeing Charlie is the so-called list at the prison. Jason's not on the approved list to see Charlie, and it's probably going to be the first and the last time that he meets him, but I think that'll bring closure not only for Jason, but for Charlie too. It's definitely going to be an emotional visit for my husband, and you can't pick your family all the time, and the fact that it's Charles Manson, but he's going out there because it's his grandpa.
I wish he just forgot about the whole thing and just let it go.
To me, Jason is that last bit of normalcy in Charlie's life that he's gonna have before he passes away, to feel that bond between a grandfather and a grandson. And Jason, to me, is the only last living descendant that gives a crap, that wants a part of Charlie's life, that wants to be there to help him.
The pressure that I get from being his grandson is overwhelming. Man, it's just a matter of time until they get stretched too far, until it just breaks.
There is nothing else. You're in it. It's me. I'm you. You're in my blood.
His name has become synonymous with terror.
In California, 5 members of a so-called religious cult, including Charles Manson, the guru or high priest, have been indicted in the murder of Sharon Tate and 6 others.
His sadistic murder shocked the world. Charles Manson was charged with controlling and directing the killers.
I don't have any guilt. I know what I've done.
Todesstrafe in Kalifornien.
And now, 50 years later, he remains the face of evil. From behind bars, he seeks out his final victim, his own family.
You have a prepaid call from an inmate at the California State Prison, Corcoran.
Searching for closure from a criminal who shares the same blood.
My grandfather, Charles Manson.
I wish I could bring you into what I'm doing.
It's hard to look back and know where you come from.
I did not want my son around that. I didn't want him to think that that was in him, because that would have been his bloodline.
What's going to happen to me? Am I going to kill somebody? Is this in the family tree? Is this in the genes, in the blood? I want to face him face to face. I want to know the answers, because I'm sick of feeling lost. No matter who he is, he's still family.
Understanding me is understanding yourself. The reality is, you're me.
We're doing the funeral on Saturday. I've got to get some memorial prayer cards. If that could be your ride, I'd love for you and him to be involved, but don't share the address with anybody. We'll be doing stuff from 9 a.m. and then the funeral's at noon. If something is leaked out, I know I'm going to be able to find who it was. If you want to come early, you want to come at 10, that's fine.
I really think we need to get a list together of those that should be there.
Okay.
It's important for them to be there because they were a part of your grandfather's life, and we need to keep those that weren't a part of his life, have very little to do with his life, out.
It's hard to be able to have my mind spread across 15 different places. Man, there's just hundreds of people who just want to say great job for not stopping even though times were tough.
You just don't want it turning into a circus here at the end.
I don't think it has been a circus. It's just
It's always been about close-knit, so you need to keep it close-knit.
Okay.
Hey, Jason.
Les?
Nice to meet you finally after all our conversations.
I know, we had some long ones.
This must be Audra.
Hello.
Hi.
Yes.
It's my wife, Audrey.
Nice to meet you.
We initially talked that there wasn't going to be any viewing of the remains. As we got into it, just like with many families, Jason was saying, well, I think I'd like a little bit more. Maybe I would like to see my grandpa.
When we picked Grandpa up, we were very surprised with the condition of his remains. We all knew that it had been several months since he passed away. But unfortunately, instead of placing him in their freezing section, he was placed in a refrigerator. And so his appearance is denigrated more than we would have preferred.
When the funeral director presented to me, he was beside himself at how they left him at his time of death. And I said, what do you mean? He said, well, just imagine a fruit put in the fridge for 4 to 6 months. And I thought in my head, whoa.
From what I understand, you never actually got to really meet Grandpa.
I haven't got to meet him, and I thought today would be that day to see my grandfather.
Well, I'm a little bit concerned. This is something I know you've been looking forward to. I haven't had a chance to really prepare him for what we call a viewing. He's here. He's had just some basic work. I have concluded the embalming, but appearance-wise, I think I could really make him look more like himself if I could have the rest of the morning to go ahead and prepare him for a viewing. Mm-hmm. You can see him right now if you'd wish, but I'm going to tell you that it may be a little difficult right now, and I just want to be sensitive to how you're going to be remembering things. So I'm going to let you tell me.
That's the mental image that I've seen a few friends and a great grandmother, and they were preserved properly. Okay. And what you're telling me is to view this will be an image that'll be in my head for the rest of my life. And
even tomorrow, it's still going to be a little rough because I can only do so much repair. I'm just going to step aside and you guys can do what you need to do right now.
Thank you.
He remembers being at his dad's funeral. I think that whatever he decides to do, he should be able to do.
If you think you just want to spend a few moments and see him tomorrow when I've had a chance, we can do that too.
Thank you. Get under that and over that. Sometimes I just don't understand why everything's got to be so hard.
Now it's just doing the right thing and taking care of his final wishes.
And we're going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy. Very happy.
Mm-hmm.
I always wanted to say, I love you, old man. I know we got to say it a couple times on the phone. I just didn't say it enough. I wish I could have been there. I tried. And when this all came about, I'm a fighter, I'm a frontline warrior, and I knew I wasn't going to let up, I wasn't going to let go. Through our relationship, I wasn't going to let go of our relationship, and I'm not going to let go of you now. I got you. Got you covered. Got your back. I think I'm ready.
I remember the night when Charlie passed away, and it was on the news. And as I was sitting there, I was thinking, man, what's going to happen when they're going to do a service? And little did I know that a few months later, that call would come to me. And I did have to take a moment to pause. And I thought, wow, is this something I should do? But then I would rather be a person who's there to be an encourager to those who are living. I want to make sure that this is something that fulfills your wishes. I read about you, and you said, I came to that point where I had to basically say, Grandpa, I forgive you. And I said, I don't know if you ever said that to him on the phone, but I know you talked about the importance of forgiveness. And we all need to hear that, because that's the gift that God gives to us that we can give to others. So, that's so important. And then you also said, that your desire is to truly have a moment of bringing my respect to this person who I never had a chance to meet face to face. And so this is what's been going through my mind, and I'm just sharing these things with you. And you can tell me whether you like it or not. I always believe that no matter how bad a person is, there is truly someone who loves them. I need to support Jason. You've been the one over the last several months especially reaching out because of your love for your grandpa to do something that others wanted to do, maybe for different reasons, but I think you wanted to do it for the sense of authentic love that you had for this man who you never met. But you wish you would have had time to create and develop a relationship. And so I see in that, you guys are just an illustration of God's hand of love in motion. And so my thoughts are, I'd like to be able to verbalize that on your behalf for all those who are gathered together. Does that feel good to you? Does it seem to fit into what you desire?
Exactly.
Okay.
And, yeah.
Mm-hmm. You got the confident assurance that that's what I'll do for you. And as I normally do a service, I talk about surviving family members, and to focus really, I would think it's mainly just the 5 of you, right? You two and your 3 boys?
Yeah.
And to acknowledge that in this service, that you are the surviving family members?
Mm-hmm.
The other people you're inviting, what's their relationship? They're just your close acquaintances, kind of your support group?
It's been mainly his grandpa's support group.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I definitely wanted to have one police officer or one guard on duty.
We all were committed to keep it as confidential as possible. And Jason had shared specifically, I don't want this to become a circus.
Something that I've accomplished off of all this, I call it the full circle, Okay. When you give, you receive, you give and receive. And the full circle is by me and my generation in making a stand to turn and run from my old ways of living in the world. I look at my grandfather not having that opportunity to have mentors that were going to help him grow and help him learn, help him understand life. Then we look at my father, Charles Manson Jr., regardless of how hard he tried, there isn't no living that name down.
Right.
He didn't have a male figure to be there to help and guide him, lead and guide him. So that's why we go to church, we attend Bible studies, our kids are involved, and they love it. These are things that we want to instill and impact their lives with the glory of God. That's full circle, man. That comes around full circle.
We've had to learn, out of the 15 years we've been together, within the last 4 months, it's really...
It's really knocked the socks off of both of us. Didn't really realize the impact of what
this was going to be by us making a stand.
If the message that I present as we bring a conclusion to the service tomorrow is talking about full circle and talk about the fact that ultimately as we gather together for this, that you're breaking, in a sense, what it talks about in the scripture of being the curse and creating a new beginning from this point on.
Yeah.
Does that hit about what you'd like to hear?
Exactly what our life consists of.
I was overwhelmed with all the plans that I've been discussing with the funeral home and with my wife. I knew there was a lot of work ahead of me.
What we had discussed last night was having a viewing from like 9 to 11 and all that wanted to come in and pay their respects to him, and then during the service to have the casket closed. There were some comments made back when we used to talk to Charlie on the phone. He made a comment one day that he doesn't want to be burned up and sold on eBay. If he would have been left to the prison, they would have just discarded the remains in the trash.
I really don't want anything too fancy or loud.
Jason wanted to just make sure that his wishes were carried out. Anybody whose grandparent passes away deserves the same respect.
I really like the thought of having my grandfather's fingerprint, and the other part of our group feels the same way. I want a couple done for myself, and they will also make an order.
Okay, the way this is, you don't have to make...
Jason needs to, I wish he would be more guarded when it comes to these people. From what I've sat back and watched, the followers, the close friends, there's some real not right. So I have to trust that he's gonna make the right decision, and that keeping these people involved for some reason is gonna help him. It's not helping me, it's not helping our family, but if it gives him some sort of peace and I don't really know. But I feel like I have to support him, but then I just feel like that they need to stay away.
I've got a heart that's probably bigger than my body, and it's hard for me to just shove people away.
I don't want to move the sheet. Wherever Manson was, there was a lot of noise and chains and bars and banging and clanging, yelling and screaming. This was the first time. It was just dead silence. And I just saw him at peace. No chains, no shackles, free. So it was a relief for me anyway.
So, everybody's here. Everybody that was close to your grandpa. I mean, this is probably the first and last time that everybody's gonna be together.
Les has been great.
He has been.
He brought up questions that I didn't even know to ask.
No. He really has gone above and beyond.
I feel at peace now. I feel at peace more today than I did this morning or last night.
We've done months of planning in about 5 to 6 hours.
Audrey, I'm so proud that you're here with me. You have a different presence that helps me feel more at ease. You've got my back.
We have a vision, you have a goal, and it's what we have set out to do. So.
Man, woman, mom and dad, school, prison. There was all of that. In the end of time, when Jesus comes, Jesus is coming. And when Jesus comes, Jesus is everything.
Amen.
Nobody wants Jesus. Because if Jesus comes, you got to give up yourself.
Yeah, you got to give up your world. You got to give up yourself.
Yeah.
I'm going to get out of your way. I'll let you guys have your time together.
Thank you. I'm shocked at how good he looks. So glad I did this. Old soldier, I knew that there'd be a time where we got to be face to face. I just didn't realize I was going to be at your death. I just want you to know that I really tried, and I know you tried to keep me safe and keep my family safe. I know why you did what you did. I know why you kept me away. You always kept me at a distance. I know we talked about my father. Society did that to him. That's who I blame. I don't blame you. You had nothing to do with the death of my father, and I just wanted to say that in person. So I can't ever say I forgive you because it's not your fault. I know you tried to be there. I know you wanted to be there for your son. Even our conversations talking about Grandma Rosie.
I just talked to Charlie, you know, a couple times on the phone.
Yeah.
And we, and the relationship you and him had was evolved into a great grandfather-grandson relationship. And I'm just very thankful that he and you had that time.
Thank you for being there for me.
Absolutely.
Seeing my grandfather for the first time, it was like a surreal moment, and you look at him and you see the makeup and the job that they did, you're just waiting for them to wake back up.
Good job, honey. You're not gonna please everybody. That's not what today's about.
I just feel like I'm shaking.
It's a lot.
I just never thought in a million years, Audrey, that I would have that chance to bury my grandfather.
Everything will always work out. You're doing the right thing.
I thought today was going to be a smooth day.
It will be.
Yeah.
It will be. This was probably the last thing we had to get through.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. I love you.
Love you too. Okay.
love you, brother. Thank you. Thank you for allowing me in your life, man. I learned so much from you. I love you. You're a warrior. It's hard to believe he's been on the fucking ground for 4 months, huh? Look that fucking good.
I know. Look that good?
Who else could do that?
Looks good. Could you do me a favor and see how it's going out there?
I will in a minute.
Yes, ma'am.
From here on, this is yours. You're gonna protect and fight and do whatever, because we're not here fucking everybody. So I'm not gonna let any of this go on. This is a funeral, not a circus.
Everything you've done.
JJ cried more than I think I've ever seen a grown man cry in my life. I mean, he was to the point where he was like, and I'm like, this is, and a lot of us were like, what the hell is going on? It was not normal, typical funeral behavior, whatever that would be, which granted, this was not the normal funeral, but my God, I mean, the production this guy put on was just over the top. He was just too much.
Today has always believed in my grandfather. Some of you guys, before I knew my grandfather, you were there for my grandfather. Past 2 years has been a difficult time in my life, but I chose to stand and be there. This will be our last chance to see a wonderful man. I want to thank everybody for taking their time and coming to pay their respects. And I'm thankful I had the opportunity to be a part of that and understand my grandfather a lot easier.
His soul is not there. Charles Manson is not there. It's just a shell. In the spirit world, his soul went somewhere, up, down. He's not in that body anymore.
Oh. Yes, sir.
Grey Wolf asked me if I mind if he put a rebel flag on my grandfather's casket. Who am I to ask an elder not to do it?
Even though I personally didn't agree with that flag, for my own reasons, I know Charlie took great pride in being from the hills of Kentucky.
I was indifferent. I mean, I've had to understand that's the time that they lived. You know, there was a different time. As Charlie got older, he was kind of stuck in that time.
Men in the South stood up for independence of choice, independence of being. It's a representation of someone standing up for liberty. That's why I put it on there.
Today we've gathered together to say our final goodbyes and respect for Charles Millis Manson. As we gather, this is a time of significance, it's a time of reflection, it's a time to remember, but also it's a time to seek where do we go from here. But I'll just remind you a little bit of his life. It was at the General Hospital in Cincinnati, Ohio, on Sunday, November 11th, 1934, that Charles Maddox entered into this world. In what was an unhealthy environment at that time, he was born to a 16-year-old girl who was not quite yet prepared for motherhood. The challenging part for Charlie is that this unhealthy environment that he was a part of for his early years followed him for the rest of his life, and it was a challenge. There were choices that we make, and I am reminded that every choice we make, there's a positive result or there's a negative consequence. And there were many choices that were thrusted on him as a child and his early youth that were very difficult and caused, I think, great pain in his life. But there were also choices that he made as well. And it created an attitude and actions that would impact himself and, of course, influence many others.
He was talking about all the mistakes Manson made. You know, Manson, you know, the reason why Manson went down that road. You know, we just wasn't the time or the place for that.
So I spontaneously in my mind was picturing, wow, this played right into the Charlie mythos, because this fucking rock and roll, heavy metal, wrestling Billy Graham, what am I doing here, motherfucker, is about to get up and fucking choke the life out of fucking Pastor Mark with both of these fucking hands right on top of Charlie's casket. That's how fucking offended I was. Yeah, so I was boiling.
It took everything in me not to get up and embarrass the hell out of that guy. And I was shaken. I just couldn't believe he was going there.
The pastor was very funeral-like. I mean, it all stayed pretty. It didn't get too personal, which, I mean, how it couldn't really. I appreciated the pastor.
Even in death, for Charlie, rest and peace were not to be found until today. I don't think there's many people that go through that situation that they die November 19th, but then they would not have their service until 4 months later. It seems like all of those things have brought a sense of tension and difficulty, but you've stood the test. You've allowed yourself to be here as a witness and a loving grandson, and I appreciate that. And so I want to affirm this today, especially Charles Manson is survived by his grandson, Jason Freeman, his wife, Audrey, his great-grandson, Samuel, 17, Maximus, age 12, AJ, age 6, and Riley. And today, and I have been so touched and impressed by those friends who have known him over these last several years, who have come today, and with a great sense of grief and sadness have taken the time to say goodbye. That is what we should have for each and every person. My focus was on speaking to an individual, and I wasn't speaking about Charlie at that point. I was speaking to Jason. There may be a person or two here today who would want to take a moment to share a word of your interaction with Charlie that we know would bring an encouragement to the family. So I just want to give you a moment to see if anyone would like to do that. Yeah, come on, Craig.
I'd like to facilitate a bit of focus on some things that Charlie brought my attention to and the world's attention to while he was here with us in a brilliant lifetime that we've all been affected by. And the first thing is we can all do it together right now by breathing in and breathing out. We do it all the time.
When Grey Wolf got up to speak, I held my breath. Grey Wolf, I have nothing but the utmost respect for that man.
There's another part of the web that speaks to us in the same survival mode, that focus is important right now as trees, sustains the air that we breathe moment to moment. And then the animals that tend the garden, that support us all, and the entire web of life, day to day. And that's what this man stood for.
When Grey Wolf finished, I kind of looked over my shoulder this way, expecting that one of those other 5 people left was going to get up. And then no, instead, I not only see no one moving, but then I see Pastor Mark basically starting to make his strides toward the front, like, okay, wrap it up. Half my body was trying to still sit down, and the other half was being pulled to the thing.
I was asked to get up and speak, but I just couldn't. When Billy stood up and said, I'll speak, it was kind of relief. I was so furious at what that preacher was saying. I was afraid that I would basically say something I was going to regret.
If anybody can walk away from here in true honor today, It's the spirit of truth that comes with that consciousness. And I just ask you, please, if you only ever remember one thing from me, it's not about me, but please, we've got to get the truth out there about what really led to the sacrifice that this person made on account of the actions of other people. And a society that would let a human being be turned into the devil incarnate. Because this is not the devil, and it never was. One other thing I will say, you know, that these snakes we talked about earlier and these negative feelings and realities that people create, that's them, okay? And I just want to thank every single one of you because of all the accusations and falsehoods cast at this brother right here. I didn't see anybody trying to sensationalize anything. I saw nothing but true spirits and true hearts coming here to honor someone for the right reason.
I knew Billy was so thankful for having the opportunity to come to Charles Manson's funeral. And then to say a few words, it didn't matter to me.
A lot of people were able to put things that mattered to them in the casket with Charlie. There was an eagle feather on his chest. There were necklaces, there were flags, there were rings, there was an iron cross. It was perfect.
I can walk in front and give him an opportunity. He can carry. It's up to you. Yeah, I'm fine.
And the rest of you are welcome to follow.
I want to give them the opportunity. I want to walk with them. Yes, ma'am. Hey. Okay. This is our moment. It isn't just my moment. It isn't just Derek's moment. Mike, George, Delana, JJ, Billy.
Weird, brother.
Stand here with you guys.
It's going to be probably 3.5 hours now. So you're welcome to stay. Anything you want to do, if you want to stay right here, or just, I know you've got some other things going on here, so I'm going to leave you guys to do what you want.
Thank you, Les.
As this procedure was going, my grandmother Rosalie crossed my mind, my mother, my father Charles Manson Jr. When we pushed him into the fire as a group, it was like a pressure release valve that just lifted a lot of weight off my shoulders.
Mom, we came down a long road.
Has he been cremated?
He's in the cremation center right now. He went in at 1 o'clock. We did a good job.
I was so glad it was just like a private thing. I told my son, I said, Jason, just keep a low profile and it's nobody's business.
What are you doing with his ass?
We're gonna scatter them tonight, somewhere here outside of town.
Yeah, we got the location figured out. It'll be at a stream in the woods.
What it would have taken to put him in the ground, an unmarked grave, it would have been just complete chaos, and it probably would have been defaced, and it would have just been, I'm sure, a complete spectacle. So this was the best decision that we felt we could have
I think
made.
these are buckeyes. I think that's a buckeye tree. It is. Buckeyes?
Really? A 40 buckeye tree.
Because we
My grandfather was Otwa, and if we're brought to life from the ground, that's just where I put him back.
You'll never find him up here.
Only in spirit.
Yeah, right.
This is so the best ever. You couldn't pick a better place.
I know we didn't want the location of the ashes being distributed because I didn't want it to become a tourist attraction. I didn't want people to come in and start to pull up dirt and sell them and say they're ashes. You know, it was a secret place that I hope it isn't ever revealed. We all promised to keep that secret and keep it amongst ourselves, and that's what we're going to do.
Are there seeds?
No, they're ashes in a biodegradable, setup. So the ashes are in here. I want you ladies to all send one down the river. It'll go. Hey! No, you want that. We all can walk back, and then while I'm walking, I'm gonna spread some ashes around the rock lines and the tree lines and stuff, and of course it's all gonna run down into the river one day from the water.
I definitely didn't want to open the ashes up to be an opportunity for someone to steal them or do whatever they wanted to with them, but I felt in my heart that other people would love to spread my grandfather's ashes.
It had gotten really cold after the sun went down, so I had gone back to the vehicle as everybody else was kind of doing their thing, making their way back. And as every person proceeds to come out with ashes on their face, they literally spread ashes on their faces. I was just like, this is just insanity.
I got caught up in the moment and it didn't cross my mind that people were going to be shoving ashes in their pocket. I didn't think that was going to happen.
To me, I thought, this is a moment that people know to act right, but obviously after seeing that, it just appalls me that people think this is okay.
They want part of my grandfather. They want their portion. And that's what I just heard that repetitively over and over and over again.
With Jason caring about people as much as he does, he wanted to try and keep everybody in the loop and keep everybody happy and keep all of this going and juggle, juggle, juggle.
I've got George, I've got Derek, I've got Sandy, I've got gray wolf, black wolf, green wolf, purple fucking wolf, the whole damn wolf pack, everybody wanting ashes from me. So there was so much pressure, I didn't know which way to go. I didn't know which way to go.
They got into his head. They got into his thoughts and they kind of took his goal and tried to make it their own. So it was, what can we use Jason to do? We're going to use him now to try and accomplish what we want to do.
You have a prepaid call from an inmate at the California State Prison, Corcoran, California. The end of time, when you realize who God is, and you realize what you're doing, you realize that all the time that all these people have been pulling you and pushing you and pointing you in the wrong direction for themselves. You got to start looking out for yourself. If you're not looking out for yourself, there is nobody else. So who's yourself? You know who yourself is.
Yeah.
You understand it?
Yeah, I get it.
All right.
I get it.
Be cool. Give my regards.
I will,
I'm
bro.
still with you. I'm always with you forever.
I know you're in my heart.
You realize? You know that, don't you?
Yeah. Well, I think I'm fortunate to have you. That's it. I'm so sick of everybody pulling from me. You know, I kept some ashes back for myself because I wanted to have part of my grandfather to put where I wanted to put him. I wanted to put him on the mantle. And I can't even sleep at night doing that. I can't feel that I don't feel that I can do that because there's so many people and there's so much pressure, there's so much shit just revolving around me. So I'm going home. I'm gonna go out on a boat about 6 miles out and we're going fishing. And I'm gonna dump the rest of the ashes out there. And that'll be my spot where I fish at and I speak to my grandfather. I'll be right there.
People are going to do what they do, man. You know, Charlie had vampires and parasites hanging off him his whole life, and to think that that would stop when he left is a fool's thought.
So I know we got a lot of stuff coming up, and I always talk about getting our ducks in a row before this next step with the estate. I think it's a big deal, and haven't really thought about it, and it just seems overwhelming like everything else.
I don't have as big a heart for people that my husband does. I don't agree with a lot of what Charlie's done. I don't agree with the people that are around, and I don't have the patience to try and really understand, but I have to support Jason.
Like by me being as giving and as open as I am I setting myself up for destruction? Like through...
Yeah, they're never gonna, because I feel like at the funeral, they made demands. They wanted this, they wanted that. With everything going on, what do they get? They're going to be like this.
Oh, I feel the pull right now.
Here.
I know the pull there. I've got people asking for stuff, and you know, what else was there at the funeral? With quite a few people I see on the inner circle, their intentions surfaced even more now that he's passed away. Everybody's got a view of how things were played out. But what's real? Once I got home from the funeral, something that Diane Lake said to me really hit home and sunk in.
He doesn't define you, as he didn't define me, and my relationship with him doesn't have to define me. I'm sorry that you've had to live with, you know, as I have, that Charles Manson has become the icon of evil. I know it's difficult. It's very difficult. I feel like a whole person now, that I don't have that secret that had a black cloud over it, you know, and that it was embarrassed to
speak about it.
Yeah. I mean, you are not him, you know?
Yeah. She put Charles's name down and never went back to it. And I think of my grandmother, Rosie. She did the same thing, but man, she was dragging a child with her that carried the same name. It was almost like my grandmother, was telling me, you're better than that. You're not him. You're not your father. You're you. You know, God's got plans for you, for your loved ones. Rise up and go.
Come here, sit with me for a minute.
I can't continue to associate
myself with the Manson friends, the Manson, groupies and stuff, because it's just going to keep me in bondage to that name, and that's all I'm going to be known for. I don't want to wear that on my shoulders for the rest of my life or pass that down to my kids.
Turn around, let's see.
No.
With family bloodlines, although they continue forever, I felt like that chain stopped at Jason. Whatever had been going on through those years and the evil and the negativity and that wasn't going to continue in our family.
I've got my own path. I've got my own walk in life with my family. My identity is not Charles Manson. The conversation that really stands out to me, out of the many that I have, it's only a couple words that really touched my heart. It was when he told me that he loved me. For him to express that feeling over to me was memorable.
How do you like Florida?
Florida's not bad. It's a big difference than where I'm from. I'll tell you that.
The weather sure is beautiful, isn't it?
Oh man, the ocean. If I could take you to go see the ocean and go fish with me, I would love to do that. That'd be great.
Yeah. I've been through all that. I found all the happiness is in my mind. I can go anywhere I want, anytime I want, man. I got a pretty good perspective when it comes to the mental department.
Oh, I know you do.
I gotta roll, so.
You gotta go.
Good to hear your voice again.
You too.
Give my regards to you.
To my family.
Peace. Love you, brother.
Love you too.